everybody's coming from Egypt. Why did they
Okay.
have to come from Egypt? This is something called the Hamitic hypothesis. Why is that being like towards saying like we come from these people, so this
Okay.
legitimizes us in our
So James,
intelligence?
I
Yeah.
think we have to analyze this logically. Okay, what is the actual origin of these stories? Were they pre white supremacy, or was it or post white supremacy? Meaning, did these, like, okay, I know for example in Kenya, right? These stories happened before white supremacy ideologies. These are like stories from the actual clan leaders, right? The griots, from a West African sort of cultural motif. So if these stories were there, and again, look at, like, let's say Kenyan admixture, right? Look at Kikuyus. They do actually find 25% North African, specifically ancient Egyptian DNA in them. So clearly, what would have happened is with these groups is that they would have had like an admixture of a group that came from there, then they mix in the stories with other groups that they met and intermarried with. So I don't think it's like it's wrong. I think what happened is they did mix with people that came from ancient Egypt, if that makes sense. So
My,
there was a point of mixing with people. So and then they just took on the stories as if everybody came from there, as opposed to we mix with people that came from there. I don't know if that makes
okay,
sense.
because
Yeah,
like the way that they talk about it is that like it's a whole population. I mean, this is how African Americans talk about it. Is that a whole like migration of people went out of Egypt and came to West Africa or went down to East Africa and everything like that. Instead of just like
It was a
bands
mixture.
of people, just like a little bit. Like it's
It
not
was
even the majority.
no majority. For example,
um,
uh,
can
yeah, go
I add
ahead.
to this? I think one other thing you want to observe is what is still happening even today, and I think the populations in the Sahel are still being pushed further south as we speak because of the desertification of the Sahara. So I believe that's what happened in the past too. This is why you hear people talking about coming from the north. Some of them went east to Egypt, while many came south because the Sahara was just 5,000 years ago. It was basically green, and
Right, the Green Sahara.
yeah, the Green Sahara. The people think it was around 20,000 years ago, so but it turns out that it's far more recent than we used to think. And so, if it is still happening today, it tells you what was happening in the past, and this is why you hear these stories about people coming from the north and stuff like that. And if you also look at West Africa, the density of language in West Africa is just inexcusable, really. What kind of separation that leads to that? It's not like we are living on islands. It's basically just a landmass, and yet you have so many different languages there. So I also think that that may also explain why you have so many different languages in West Africa, because of the population crunch that is going on. And I think that's why you have to tie some of all these analysis to what is happening now too. What you observe on the ground. Even if you see so many Africans going to North Africa and trying to get to Europe, the ones moving south is a lot greater still. And so, yeah, that's it.
Right. My
Um,
whole thing is that like when it came to like um they're saying like they're coming from the culture and everything. Yes, we know that our ancestors are coming from places in the Green Sahara up in the north and they came down. Genetics prove that, and even some culture proves that. But it seems like they're trying to claim like the pyramids and everything like that. They're trying to claim the old kingdom, the middle kingdom, and the new kingdom, and saying that that culturally came down. I do not deny that ancient Egyptians in like the medieval era came to West Africa. They obviously did. But to say that they are the reason why you have complex societies in West Africa, when you have other societies like the Nok and everything like that, and Dartichet, what existed before a lot of this stuff coming in, I think is insulting to like our ancestors.
there's some truth there, and I think it's a mix of both. I'll keep saying it. Look at what is happening now, and it will tell you what happened in the past to an extent. What is happening now is not so dissimilar. There is a mix still going on till today. Like when the Sahel they move into Nigeria, there's always Nigerians complain all the time from the south, complain about how Nigerians keep moving into Nigeria. You know all these Hausa people and they are this. Thing. So when they move into Africa, this is Nigeria. They will have children with Igbo with different people. So it's the trend still carries on. I don't think um, it's neither here or there. If you go back further back, yes, black people were the ones that founded Egypt. But as time went on, the influx of foreigners started coming into Egypt and turning the this thing, changing the culture, from the invasions, from the even in the Bible, there is even immigration waves that come from the this in the Levant area into the Egypt. So you can see how the culture eventually changed. As a matter of fact, I don't know, man. I sometimes I feel very, very aggrieved, or kind of, I don't know, how do I describe it? A little bit angry with the Sahara Desert because it seems to have done us a lot of disservice. Because what was happening was that it is pushing most Africans, the connection they have with, let's say, the northern African part to the south, while opening the road for the from people from the Levant to move into the north of Africa. That's basically the trend, and it's still happening till today. So it's a
But
bit
see,
annoying, but
that was even happening in the pre-dynastic though. It was always people from the Levant coming into Egypt because it's right there. So
yeah,
they were always trading with people right there, and it was always mixing with. That's how they got the cattle into Egypt. That's how they started doing farming in Egypt
it
because they
wasn't
used to think
dominant.
Egypt was a
It
yeah.
wasn't
All right, it
dominant. It was
wasn't
a
dominant,
small. It was a small amount
right?
at that time.
And
Egypt, the capital of
right,
Egypt was 1,000 kilometers from the this Mediterranean Sea. They were not
correct.
anywhere near the this in the
The Delta,
Mediterranean culture in any way. Yeah. So
right? They
yeah,
weren't
go
near the
ahead.
Delta. You're right.
Mm.
Yeah, because my whole thing was like when it came to that, it's like when it like that whole thing is that they always had people. That's how when they thought like agriculture was like Egyptians came up with agriculture, but they didn't. They actually inherited it from people from the Levant. West Africa, on the other hand, they taught themselves agriculture. So you do have centers of civilization. You have centers of agriculture and animal husbandry. So you have like these places, and like you said, Egypt in the Delta, you're going to find more of those people that's mixing with the Levant. But Egypt as a civilization did start in the South, where the people would have been more Nilotic and Cushitic. So
Yeah.
you're right on that. So the civilization starts with the dark skinned people, but where the pyramids are and where all that stuff is, that's all in the Delta.
Yeah. And it's funny when you hear some of all the Egyptians, these current Egyptians.
The pyramids are throughout.
Oh, just call me Brian. Long
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Hey, how you guys doing? Good afternoon, good morning, good
I
afternoon, good
think the
evening.
moment you mentioned
I don't
Sudan,
know.
that's all you needed. You'll be here.
Not necessarily, not necessarily, but I'm good. It's good to hear you, Nigel. I mean, here's the thing. Obviously, all humankind is related, regardless of how we look like, regardless of our phenotype, regardless of our skin color. If you could have sex with somebody of the opposite gender, I'm going to get that correct because sometimes people get confused these days as far as the political correct situation we live in today. Um, then you are obviously related because you're human. Having said that, um, where did the Bantus originate? Where did they that's a pretty much a loaded question. You could say that about any group of people. Where did the people from the Indus Mountains originate at? Where did the people from like the Basque people originate at in Spain? To me, it's kind of like neither here or there. But we, due to colonialism and stuff like that, and certain
Hey,
groups.
morning. How you doing?
He's saying good morning to me or what?
I think he's talking to someone else. Let me mute him. Yeah, please go ahead.
No, I mean, that's a very, very good question. I mean, the Bantus supposedly originated in, I guess, what, Cameroon or whatnot, or parts of Nigeria, and pretty much spread out throughout Africa. I think more or less it probably came from different bands of different groups, and not just one great big migration. I mean, I
Mm.
think it pretty much dwindled down throughout history, and other groups started meeting other groups. I mean, certain Bantus probably, obviously moved to, like Southern Africa, and they mixed with the Khoisan. Um, in regards to Kenya, that's pretty much a good question. Did the Bantus originate in the Nile Valley, or did all of Africa originate in the Nile Valley? I think that's what African
Yeah.
scholars have
No,
to ask
I think
themselves.
All
You
Africans.
could see certain cultures. I guess I forgot what that culture was in the Nile Valley. I think it was in the Dogula region, and they did certain things that was, or they had a kingdom. I think it was located Kerma culture, that is very similar to a lot of African cultures throughout Africa. And I think Kerma, what is in modern Sudan and Nile Valley, that would answer a lot of questions if we take into consideration and have an open mind about it. As far as, because people don't just start just come out of nowhere. Everyone at one time in human history migrated from somewhere else. Even with Europeans, they know they had an origin. Some people believe it was Iran, and then they went to India, and then they went to further north of India and wind up going towards Europe.
That won't surprise me. They do look Indian, just lighter. Regarding the Bantus, or the, I heard Kezo when he was saying that they are like some of the oldest groups that came from Cameroon. They were practically one of the oldest in the
One
world.
of the oldest tonight.
Okay, so does that mean that human beings started from there instead of the Kenya and all?
No, yes. The oldest group came from Cameroon, but then what happened is they moved into East Africa. They moved into Kenya and Ethiopia, and then those groups of people then came back into West Africa, mixed in with those original Bantus from Cameroon.
So are you saying the human Eve originated from Northeast Africa? That's interesting.
It's Cameroon.
No wonder Nigerians have a this is superiority complex.
No, it is. Let me show you.
Kaizo.
Yeah, one second. Just
this
is a nature study. Yeah, wait, one second. This is a nature study, right? Nature is actually one of the best scientific research papers, right? So I'm not making this up. Go check the impact factor. I've only got published in advanced materials, which is actually the second highest research paper. So shout out to me.
No audio. We can't hear you, Kezo. At least I can't. No,
wait, can you? Is it okay now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
We can hear you now.
I read this right. This is a nature paper. This is scientifically like one of the top research papers. One of the sample individuals, an adolescent male, carried a rare Y chromosomal haplogroup A00. Nilotes and Khoisans don't have the A00. They have A01, which is a newer breed. Found almost nowhere outside. And look at that, right? Found almost nowhere outside, apart from Black Americans. And why? Because Black Americans have Cameroonian admixture, right? So it's literally not found anywhere apart from Cameroon today. A00 is best documented and get the Mbo and Bangwa. These are Bantu groups in Cameroon. Ethnic groups living not far from the Shum Laka. And this is the first time it has been seen in ancient DNA. A00 is deeply divergent haplogroup, having split off from all other known human lineages 300,000 years ago. This shows that the oldest known lineage of modern human males has been present in West Central Africa more than 8,000 years ago. So yes, but Cameroon Bantus, the Mbo and the Bangwa, aka what's his name? Judah's tribe, Bangwa. This is the oldest human. This is mitochondria. Call it bullshit.
What a letdown, Judah.
So you can't just call it bullshit. I can send you a research paper right now. But yeah, Cameroonian Bantus, Mbo and Bangwa are the oldest human beings, according to research.
That's really good. It's a shame it's not the Sudanese or the Congolese. It's just one of those things, I guess. Some people just have to accept that. But why is it that in science, I guess this is the paternal line you're talking about. So, but in science, they tend to say the Eve is from.
Yes, maternally it is the Nilotes, right? It's L0. That's found more on the nilotic side. But in terms of paternally, it is, so you have the mitochondrial Adam, and obviously, so you have you got the paternal Adam, which is A00, then you have the mitochondrial Eve, which is L00. So the nilotes have the oldest Even Somalis have it too, and Kenyans, right? Kenyans, Somalis, Nilots. They have the oldest maternal L0, and then the oldest one for male is actually A0, which is found in Central African Bantus.
And
According
just
to
after
research.
that, you notice that on the map they peeled off into West Africa. I think the A something one or something peeled it off. When if you look at the map, they peeled off into this thing West Africa. But then, why do we differentiate between the Bantus and the Niger Congo? They are basically similar groups, and they are
Yeah,
the
they're
same
very
group
similar
basically.
groups. Yes, sure.
So it's very interesting that I guess I never looked at it from that point of view that the first man, like the proverbial Adams, is not from East Africa. You know,
No,
they
no,
never
this is why
nobody ever
those.
says that really.
No, what they would do, because I think this is the issue with research. Research takes time before it holds. People will be talking about the Nilotes and Khoisans having A01, which is old, but then recent research found the oldest one around 2020, etc., which was known now as in Cameroon, the Baka, Bakola, Bangwa, and the Mbo tribes. So this is very new research, actually. Now they found it in 2013, but it takes time before this research like circulates
Wow,
enough people.
2013, that's a long
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Even the whole E1B1A thing. Like I was actually the only one on YouTube that I know of that actually putting together the Omotic people of Ethiopia and northern Kenya, the same as the Bantus. Their haplogroup is now the same.
It's quite crazy, this in case of, because it's almost like with some of the discussions we've had here, we've gone quite in depth on genetic stuff that
Yep.
most panels I've ever had. People don't talk about this sort of stuff, but we really, really are some
No,
obsessed
we've gone
with
deep in
Yeah,
some
you are
places where
very,
we've
very obsessed with DNA.
No, this is good. I like this.
yeah,
Yeah.
no,
we do.
you guys call it obsession, but this is the only way you get to know the deep
I
truth.
mean, with
right?
me, I'm really into, like documentaries,
Culture,
old
documented history.
culture,
Yeah.
documentaries, definitely cultures.
But,
I think culture
but
is
you know
the
what's interesting though? My bad.
foundation of, I won't say the foundation of everything, because, even with, when people tell stories, it kind of changes as time goes on, in a many different cultures. So you just, I kind of agree with you in that aspect of it. You can't just rely on that, and then you have to get on to the DNA, get onto DNA to confirm certain things.
Okay, so Brian, let me give you context of why DNA sometimes is superior. If you look at a lot of the Kenyan
I
tribes,
wouldn't say superior,
okay,
because
but it's
sometimes,
needed.
let me
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
finish. Sometimes it could, let's say, as far as Nigel was talking about, there is a connection between Bantus and Niger Congo people, correct?
True.
And
Yeah.
sometimes with that DNA, that's why I'll give you a perfect example. Certain groups that came to the Americas, I'm not just talking specifically in the United States, the Americas, North America, South America, and the Caribbean, have distinct DNA. Whereas other groups, especially among West and Central Africans, it's kind of hard to tell. For example, the Wayans family. I don't know. Do you know the Wayans family from Living Color?
Yeah, sure.
The comedian family, along with Muhammad Ali and several other people. It's easy to point out some of them. I'm going to say this, and just in quotes. I'm not saying they're specifically only from here, because with people in the Americas, we're pretty much mixed with many different African groups. Having said that, in one of their DNA sequences, it's easy to tell from a geneticist point of view that they had an ancestor, and some of them have stories about that came from Madagascar, due to the fact that Malagasy, since they're a mixture of Bantus and people from Indonesia, mixed over time, and whenever an African American get like 2% or 3%, because Malagasy's were only about 5,000 to 6,000 that came to the United States. Whenever they get like 1% or 2% Filipino DNA, that means they had an ancestor that came from Madagascar. However, with other African groups, that's really, really hard to tell. So that's why you can't just go relying on DNA all the time. That's why you have to get
the data, right? So okay, now
not
Brian,
the data, not necessarily the data, but as far as your family line and the stories and
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay, now, but Brian, remember that question when we had the 400 Kenyans that came into America through the boats that you gave us,
They
right?
came to
Remember that?
South Carolina. They came to South Carolina specifically.
Now, here's the thing: why DNA is great is now we found them, right? That means he has 12% Kenyan DNA and 2% Somali DNA. Now we know they were sold by my ancestors, the Wangas, because now you see that this DNA and also the records of the ship that are still there. So we even
Right.
resolved that question that we had, because now we're able to see it, right? Like Mizi is a perfect example: 12% Kenyan and 2% Somali DNA. You can clearly see that came from those 400 Kenyans who got sent there. At least the story matches up really nicely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does.
Now, if we didn't, and if we didn't have the records of the slave ships, it would have been impossible to say that. You could have said maybe that's recent admixture, right, from some kind of Kenyan immigrant who came there and married into like Mizi's family. But now you can kind of see, this makes sense based on the historical records as well as DNA. So yeah, it's kind of nice to have the full picture by looking at records, historical, cultural
records are
stories,
records are so important, especially for people in Americas, because that's one thing I hate the white man credit for in that aspect of it. They kept the data as far as slave manifests, as far as what ports they came from, or they got the Africans from, and they had to report that information, which I thought that's pretty much interesting and profound in that aspect of it.
Yeah, for insurance reasons.
That too.
Yo, so here's the interesting thing about A00, right? So they found A00 within an African American named Alfred Perry, I think, right? What's interesting is that they didn't find anybody currently with it, but the closest people to it were the people in Cameroon. I think that's how the study started, because I don't think Alfred Perry had male descendants, so it kind of died off with him. I think he only had female descendants. So when they were looking it up, they were looking for the closest matches, and that's where they found him in Cameroon. So it's an approximate that it is from Cameroon. So that's how they linked it. What's interesting is that when it comes to the abos, they use Alfred Perry to them prove that humans come from the United States and not Africa. Because since it starts with A, that means it's the first one. But they don't understand that the A, like A2 and these A groups that you find in the Americas are actually mitochondrial haplogroups and not Y DNA haplogroups. So that's where they're low IQ on that when they misinterpret the information. But they use Alpha Perry all the time in that A00 to prove that they indigenous to America. That's how most people know about it. At least who know about this stuff know about it over here.
If I wanted to ask, just to change the topic a bit, not for the changing of the topic, I'm just curious for the title. This in the earlier title, Kezo. Who is something polite? Who is polite? Why is he being talked about? Because quite a few channels were talking about him yesterday, but I don't know anything about him at all.
He's a child rapist. I mean, rapist.
Oh, Nigeria, so he is.
The internet guru. Go ahead. YouTube guru.
So he's like a pedo, Nobody can talk about him. What is this? I don't know.
I never even heard of him. I mean, besides YouTube, I'm too busy my face on the real estate market too much. Interest rates, all that.
Yeah, he's a hotep. Yeah, he's one of a big like debater, hotep type person. He kind of comes from a background in like people who have a history of touching minors. Yeah, he was on Sinet's platform. He was on like a lot of other people's platform. He was like a big flexer also. Wow. Yeah, he's a lot of things.
I see. Wow, that's not good. Grabbing little ones.
Now, look. Yeah, so let me ask you a question, because obviously people like Mrs. H say, Mrs. H, how can you say lies to scientific research papers from Nature Like, do you guys know what scientific papers are ranked on? There's something called impact factor. Now, Nature has like was it 30 impact factor, meaning 0.0001% of all researchers will ever publish on Nature. And it's something else. So it's a highly scrutinized research paper, and it's been repeats of those studies. So everything I said about the Bantus and the Ethiopian Omotic people being originally the same people in the white, this is fact. The haplogroup is no longer E1B1A; it's called EV38 because they've now reestablished it. They've basically connected E1B1C, which is from the Omotic people, and E1B1A from the so-called Bantus into one haplogroup, EV38. So
That's interesting.
that's a scientific fact now.
EV38. My
It's
goodness.
called it's called
Okay, so
EV38.
you are really keeping up to date on this. I have to give you credit for that.
Hey,
So what does that mean then? Does that mean that Kenyans are like other Africans too, like the Bantu family?
Well, okay, Kenyans are obviously an admixed group, right? It's Bantus, Nilotes, and Kushite. Most Kenyan tribes are either mixed with what we call Nilo Bantus or Nilo Kushites. Then you have the only tribes which are still pure in Kenya, I'm trying to think, is those ancient tribes. For example, the Oromo tribes like Waat, they're still, ancient hunter-gatherer, prehistoric Kenyans, similar to the Sandawe, the Sand tribes. So they're like more of the ancient Kenyans, Waat. You have other groups like that. But the other modern tribes, like the modern Kushite tribes, they're mixed. The modern Bantu, Nilote tribes, they're all mixed. So only few tribes are not mixed. And even those tribes, like the Waat, are mixed with the ancient people there in that region, right? So it's like, I think all of them are now mixed to a point whereby you can no longer say that this tribe is this tribe. I'll give you an example. If you come to Tanzania, there's a tribe, the only so-called Southern Cushitic tribe, still a Southern Kushite tribe. They don't even look like Southern Kushites, right? They look more like Bantus, but they even have no Bantu DNA, right? So because they mixed in with the Tanzanians. So this tribe, what are they called?
You're not talking about the Hasta. You're not talking about the Hasta, right?
No, Iraq tribe, right?
Oh, Iraq. Okay.
Iraq tribe. So, for example, if you look at Southern Cushitic people, Southern Kushites got removed from existence because they married into the Bantus, right, during the Bantu expansion. So tribes like Kikuyus, Embus, Kambas, those kinds of tribes, they mixed in with them. So the only really survival tribe is called the Iraq. Now they claim they came from Iraq, right? Now that's bullshit. They just came from Ethiopia. But this group of people, if you look at them, they don't even look like as much Kushite as the other groups, like let's say the Tutsis. Tutsis are more Bantu tribe, but they look more Southern Kushite. So it just depends on the admixture, how it happened, and which group sort of looks more like which other group. But yeah, this is the last surviving Southern Cushitic tribe. It's called Iraq.
Okay. The pure Cushitic tribe, you mean?
Yeah. But they don't look like what you call modern Kushites, right? They look
which
more
one,
like...
Which one are the Wangas now? Are you guys, what is your admixture?
Wangas originally were Nilotic men that married into Bantu women. They moved from Uganda.
So you don't have like Cushitic admixture?
No. Wangas is Nilotic men that married Bantu women.
I see. I don't know where the Wanga the Wanga instinct comes from, though. I guess Bantus are very the Wanga, the way the Wangas behaved in Kenya, like you like to brag about.
Oh, that comes from the look. Wangas originally came from ancient Egypt, right? Hang on, they came from ancient Egypt. Then they moved to Ethiopia. Then they moved to Uganda. Then they moved to Kenya, right? Then they obviously kept marrying Bantu women, so that's why they're superior to these other Kenyan tribes.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, why does they have to be from Kenya? Why do they have to be from Egypt to be superior?
No, right, because these dusty Kenyans were look. I'll tell you this fact, right? Name me a single Kenyan kingdom apart from Wanga. It doesn't exist. So the history makes sense. The culture
some people
makes
are
sense.
just better, Some people are just better. Let's face it. If you come to the UK now, you see that the English seems to be like dominant in all the this in Isles. And when you look at the Welsh, you feel sorry for them. It's like, why did they leave you standing? Because the language is so odd, so different. And my theory is that the English went there, they want to take out the Welsh. They looked at them, they thought they are already dead. There's no point.
Well, the Germanic people were better, I guess.
Pardon?
I guess the Germanic people were better.
I don't know where they are
Germanic,
because their language is so odd. The Welsh language is
it's kind of
Celtic.
It sounds kind of like Polish in a way, because I remember talking to a Welsh person and they was talking with each other, And hearing the accent, I'm like, wow. I said, are you from Poland? Like, no, I'm from Welsh. I was like, oh shit.
You know what? Their language is insular Celt. So they're like one of the last remnants of the Celtic languages.
I mean,
So
I
it's
know
related
The
to
I know
Welsh,
Manx,
certain
it's
the
related
Welsh
Irish
are
to
people.
Celtic.
Gaelic,
I
it's
know
related
certain
to all
Irish
that.
people still do speak Gaelic.
Hmm.
I mean, it's not widespread as it should, but there are Gaelic speakers in Ireland.
The
Yeah,
Welsh,
yeah,
Right.
the
few
Welsh
people.
are warriors now. The Welsh tend to be like, I mean, the Celts. I mean, the Celts are like they don't take nonsense, but the
But
Welsh
Niger,
they seem to
do
like
you
they
know
take
why
all
the
kinds of nonsense.
Scottish
Yeah, they did.
uh
What you talking
do
about?
you, do you know why the Welsh and the Scottish weren't as powerful as the English? It's because they weren't colonized by the Roman Empire. So the fact that they didn't get colonized made them backwards for like centuries. Meaning, if these dusty ancient Kushites with a K, right, didn't prevent the Roman expansion, maybe Africa would have been different. Like I honestly I don't like
Don't
the
say,
Kushites
okay,
for
so that's the biggest problem.
preventing.
That's the biggest problem with you always say Africa. Don't put your situation or cultures in Kenya in the same basket, let's say, as a country like cultures like the Songhai Empire or the Ashanti Kingdom or even the Bonkongo Kingdom in Central Africa. Totally different entities.
Those were colonized by Islam.
Huh?
They
Oh,
were
you talking about
colonized
you
by
saying that
Islam.
Ashanti got colonized by Islam?
No, they weren't.
No, they
I,
weren't. So
I
that's the
think
point.
What
I
about the
think
Yoruba?
Hazel may have a point that
Yoruba have stuff.
because the Celt
But you
the
said
this
they come from Egypt?
uh,
Yoruba. Okay, wait, hang on, guys. There's two things here, right? There's Niger Congo, then there's Niger Kordofan. Niger Kordofan takes in account the languages from the Sahel because they have some Nilotic language affiliates. So Niger Kordofan is the West Africa plus Nilotic languages. Then there's Niger Congo, which is without the Nilotic influence. So yeah, there's two groups of people: Niger Kordofan and then Niger Congo. Same language group. They've now unified it, but so more or less what I'm trying to say is if you look at parts of Western Sudan, they speak what we call Niger Kordofan languages, which is more similar to the Sahel, etc.
the
Right.
Kordofan language appears to be one of the oldest ones from what I can see in terms of the tree. It appears they are one of the oldest one. Then you have the Dogon one, and you have the Ijoid one. Then you start having all the others come along the line there, which is a bit confusing for me because you would think it should be from like Cameroon up north, but it seems to be coming from the Sahel region down. Dogons are in the Sahel, the Kordofan is somewhere in the Sahel, and they said they are about the oldest language in the Niger Congo family. And if that is true, it might mean that languages do evolve, and it doesn't necessarily mean that is the original language from that area. Because some people say the Hausa language that they speak now, they got it from East Africa. That's the Afro-Asiatic language that they speak. So it's not their original language. So they just picked up another language. I don't even know how that happens.
Hausa, for example, is
Well,
part of the Chadic branch of the Afro-Asiatic
Static one, right?
group, right? So they are Afro-Asiatic. If you look at the DNA as well, haplogroup wise, they have R1b as a majority, meaning they are the same DNA as a white man. These guys were originally white,
Yeah, that
mixed
is
in with
very odd.
yeah,
But you
they
know
were
what?
originally white
Oh,
and they mixed in with the Sahelians and West Africans.
Or do you
but
think
they
that
might have
that's
got
where
it
the
from
white people
Egypt though,
came from instead
because
of the other way around? Is it that the white people came from them instead of the other way around?
Yeah, white people obviously came from them, right? Because so when you hear stories like Hausa saying they're from ancient Sudan or Egypt, that's a fact based on even look at like King Tut. King Tut's DNA is
right,
R1b. So
right.
these people did come from ancient Sudan, ancient Egypt. Then they moved into the Sahel, marrying to the Bambara, the Wolof, and the Manding tribes. That's how they obviously get
That's
their current
interesting.
look. But yeah, maternally they're African. Paternally they are more of that Eurasian group. Now Fulanis, which is kind of interesting, Fulanis are actually African for the most part. Yeah, they do have R1b as well, but Fulanis are Niger Congo. But it's kind of funny. You guys accept houses as being Niger Congo, even though they're not. They're Afro-Asiatic, but the
Go and
Fulanis are
tell
the
that to
Niger Congo
Nigerians
ones.
now. Go and tell that to Nigerians.
Yeah, no,
Nigerians
Fulanis are
like,
your
no.
people to Niger.
No. To Niger,
Genetically, they're
let
the same
sometimes
people as.
when an intelligent point is being made, just let it flow and make
What
that
do
point
you
come
mean?
through.
So what I'm saying is not
No.
intelligent.
Don't cut him off because I didn't know what he
Yeah,
was about to say. So let him say it. Say it.
yeah. So to Niger, Fulanis or Fula people, are actually genetically closer to you, to Niger, as a South Nigerian, than a Hausa is closer to you, right? So Fulanis are Niger Congo speaking people. They don't speak a Afroasiatic language. Yes, they do have like 5 to 10% North African DNA, but most of the DNA is actually closer to you, to Niger. So the
Yeah.
Hausas are
Okay,
actually the ones
finish.
who are actually technically more Sahelian or Sudanic kind of people. But yeah, Fulanis
Right.
are Niger
They're
Congo.
mostly closely related to Nilotes.
Yes.
Yeah, see, I wasn't disputing the fact that they are African. This thing,
No, you never
I was
even
just,
claim them as Niger Congo. They're Niger Congo people to
no,
Niger.
no, it's
Just
not
let
me.
you.
It's not me that is claiming them. I was just trying to
Sorry,
say that.
Tunaja. The reason why I cut you off is what Kaizo just said now, and I'm going to go and check it. I actually had it the other way around. I thought the Fulanese were as it described the Hausas, and the Hausas were as it described the Fulanese. So I was wanting him to land that to see if there's any science
Okay.
behind it. So I wasn't trying to cut you off, but I think he was trying to make a point there that I wanted to hear.
Yeah, but you had to add intelligence to it, though. That doesn't sound right. Like he was trying to make an intelligent point, like I was trying to make some kind of stupid point. The idea, because we've had this conversation a few times, so that wasn't. I was just trying to
Yeah, so
joke
here is
about
Niger, right? I'm just bringing
the
up
way we
just for
perceive it.
everybody listening. Fulani, or a native to West Africa, Sahel, Fuller, Niger Congo, Atlantic, Senegambian, Fuller. Right, this is not an Afro-Asiatic group. Now, if I was to put the Hausas, you see a different. They're part of the Chadic branch of the Afro-Asiatic language group. So these people are your people to Niger. The problem is maybe sometimes they look a little bit different, so you guys don't accept them or something. Do you think Kenyans say, "Oh, Kikuyus are not Bantu because they look a little bit different from some of the other Bantu"? No, they don't do
But
it. These are your people.
how do you account for the physiological features?
They have
Uh,
10%
uh,
North African admixture.
All right,
yeah, but
but here's the thing though.
I
Okay.
guess it really depends
sorry,
on.
James, and call me Brian. How do you account for the physiological features? Because the Hausa man is dark skinned, broad nosed, very much template, a Yoruba man, a Congolese man, etc. But the Fulani man, just on average, is light skinned, straight nosed, the hair curly, in a sort of Arabian sort of way. So you can more see that Arabian influence in the Fulani man than you
Yes.
can in the Hausa man. You
Yeah.
cannot even see the Arabian influence in the Hausa man. You can just see them as a full black West African.
No, Fulani look the same to me. The difference is there's some Fulani groups which have more admixture, but the average Fulani looks like to Niger. I think that's also another issue. People look at the extremes of representation and then project that extreme as the average. Most Fulanis look like to Niger.
I
But
mean,
I will say,
I guess it really
yeah, go ahead.
depends on the Fulani subgroup. I mean,
Yeah, on the exactly what I'm saying.
I even had conversation with Fulanis in real life, and we don't really talk about history. I mean, when I'm talking with people, it's just general conversation. But what I get from them, I'm gonna say the online Fulanis, that the online Fulanis say that they, let's say, due to their conquest of different groups of peoples in the past.
Yeah, and also this is not
Um,
Fulani. This is Wadabe. This is a specific Fulani group,
right. You're,
which have more
due to
admixture
their
of
conquest,
Eurasian.
let me finish my thought,
Yeah.
Casey, please. Due to different peoples, when the conqueror becomes the ruler, other people want to be part of that group. And some Fulanis say, due to that, that's why you have some people who do not look stereotypically Fulani, due to the fact that these were other ethnicities that became part of Fulani society, if that makes any sense.
Sure. But if you look at this, right? Yeah, so one man, what you showed there is what we call a Wadabe. Wadabe are the more Arabian mixed Fulanis, right? They're not the majority of Fulani. Yeah, I'll say this is a typical Fulani picture there, right? It looks like a Hausa man to me. But yes, Wadabe are a
This is
lot more
also a
admixed.
Fulani man, though,
That looks
Kaizo.
like
But
what
if
Fulani
you
I
men
look
are.
mean,
at the
how do you feel? What
physiological
do you feel about
features,
that theory, case? So as far as what Fulani say?
No, you are okay. Okay, look, Brian, you are right? But here's the thing: with groups like Fulani, which is already admixed anyways, at which point did they become Fulani? Because, for example, if you look at average DNA mixture, they're at the ones in Nigeria are only 5% North African. Fulani is in Nigeria, 5%. They're more or less similar to Hausa and other African groups. The ones in Guinea, they're like 85% African. Then you have the Wadabe, which is like only 70% African. So it depends on the group of African, and obviously, as you are a
Only
tribe,
70%. Only 70%.
yes, they're 70. Wadabe is 70%
How is
African.
70% whole? Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, but if you look at so it depends on the group, as you mentioned, Brian. So you're 100% true. But the average Fulani, look at Nigerian Fulani DNA. I can show you. I can pull it up right now. It's only 5% North African. That's the reality. Kaizo has to bring in the Guy tribe. No, they're not gay. They're just men who love to look good. Right? There's nothing wrong with being metrosexual. R1B possible origin. R1B is not an African haplogroup. It's definitely Eurasian. Let's not steal other people's haplogroups. Ours is E. Theirs is R1B. Let's just accept that. We need to review the Fulani.
But
So yeah, go ahead.
no. My whole thing is like also you could have a thing where like a population who originally did not speak a Niger Congo language adopted a Niger Congo language. That's also something that happens because like even with the Hausa, they have ancestors that spoke Niger Congo languages.
Sure, but if you look at okay, so let me review Fulani DNA so that we can all see. It's clearly most of it is Senegambian DNA. It's just like 10 to 15% North African DNA. And the ones in Nigeria are almost 100% Nigerian. Like they're just Hausa and Yoruba DNA inside of the Fulani Nigerians. Let me show you that Fulani DNA ancestry results. I think issue is people look at extremes, project that extreme as if it's a norm, but the reality is it's a lot more straightforward. Yeah, groups like Wadabe, I'll say that 70% African. The rest is North African / Arabian, Middle Eastern DNA. But on average, it's not as far as we see. Let me see. As for Somo DNA, okay. Let me find a research paper, because you guys come for me for being a Wikipedia scholar. But if I start reading research papers, you guys won't watch the video. I always love how Africans come for you for reading Wikipedia. Then they won't have the patience to go through an actual research paper. You guys have seen this, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that's just people in general case, though. It's not just Africans. People in general.
Okay, I'm gonna show Fulani from what you call it, a Fulani from Niger. Let's look at their results, right? Because let's see, here it is, right? This is from Niger, right? They're all different depending on the type of Fulani, but let me just share this one. We'd have to look at many, right? But if you look at this one here, ethnicity estimates, right? Mali, 37%, right? Senegal, 34%. Nigeria, 23%. North Africa, 3%. So it really depends on the area. Now, Wadabe are obviously different. Wadabe, you're going to get much higher North African estimates. But more or less, this is the Fulani sort of admixture. Then sometimes you get Scotland. You get, Greece.
Yeah, but what's the dominant mix, though? Everybody
Senegambia
has a little bit of something or the other, but what's the dominant
It's Black
mix of
African
the Fulani
DNA from Senegal, Nigeria, and Mali. That's the majority.
I'm not sure. That sounds like voodoo science. That you're just voodoo science.
Okay, let me pull up a research paper, because it cannot be voodoo. This is reality, right? Let me pull up some DNA results, right? This is a Nigerian Fulani, in fact. I'm pulling up right now. Let me share my screen. He even looks like a Fulani, because you guys will say, "Oh, it doesn't look like a Fulani. It must be some fake African." Now look at this, right? This is Nigerian Fulani. I'm not gonna share the voice, but yeah. So this Nigerian Fulani. I just took a DNA test. Turns out I'm 100% African. Look at this. That's a Fulani, as you can see. Her name is Zainab Abdullahi, right? Got that Senegal is from Nigeria. Okay, hurry up, stop talking. Show us your results, sister. Let's go see. Okay, I'm just fast forwarding it. Cool. Look at that. West African, 93%, right? Ghanaian, Liberian, Sierra Leone, 46%. Senegambian, 30%. Nigerian, 6%. Broadly West African. North African, in fact, Northeast African there. See, West Asia and North Africa, 5%. So this Fulani here is only 5% non-African. So yeah, it's to do with.
You're picking an extreme to make the point, though. That's an outlier. You're using an extreme.
No. In Nigeria, that's a normal. But like I said, the Wadabe are more, let's say, Western Eurasians, 30%. But the point is, Fulanis are your people. You guys need to stop this anti-Fulani hate. These are Niger Congo speaking people. They are Nigerian. They are Senegambian, and you must accept them as your people and stop projecting all the bad things to Fulanis.
Okay, so share this. I'm gonna share this.
Ask to Niger or one man, but to share it.
Oh my
Yo,
God!
you ever heard of a brother named Ngozi?
Share this. Whatchamacallit, this video.
Yeah, tell to Niger or one man to share it.
Tonight to share it. Well, these are Fulanis from Cameroon, not too far from Nigeria.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, pause it right there. So how? No. Go back to that guy. Go back
Pause
to
it
that
here,
guy.
to that lady. Well, pause
No,
it to
hold
that
on.
lady.
Go back to that
You
guy.
see, you
Go
want to
back
find
to
one
that
guy. One
Go
man
back
wants
to
to
that
find
guy.
his man. Look
I
at
mean,
that. That's
we're
African.
doing-
They're all
we're
African.
doing-
No, there's nobody in this stills that we're whatever it is that we're looking at that looks anything like I do. They look
They
more
don't have to look
Arabian
exactly like
than
you.
anything to me.
They don't look Arabian. These are
Arabs.
Africans. Just look like East Africans. They just look like Africans. They look
They
like
look
nylon
Arab to
things.
me. They don't look anything like me.
They don't have to look exactly like you, but they
Well,
are you.
I'm typically African. Yeah, Yoruba man from Oyuala, as you know, but none of these
Okay,
people
let me
look
ask you a
anything
question,
African.
one man. You know that guy, I believe his name is...
If I come across these people, I think foreigner. I think
Really?
Arabs.
No, they don't look even like Arab. But one man, let me ask you a question. That brother called Tone, the Igbo brother, he looks like these people. Are you going to say he's not Igbo?
Which guy called Tone?
I believe it's called Tone. To Niger, do you know him? Is it Tone or something? The
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
looks...
Tone
I asked
M.
him if
Yeah,
he was
man,
Somali.
that guy looks European. Yeah, he really looks.
No, he
Came
looks like a
from
Somali.
The pointy nose and everything.
He's Igbo, but he looks like a Somali. Are you gonna say
Yeah.
no? These are all African people. Yes, they're a little bit lighter skinned. This one's from Cameroon, etc. But they look like African. You look at that guy; they're all Africans.
And their language is Niger Congo, while the Hausa one is
How close are
Afro-Asiatic language. And I think I need to, because I know I think this is why maybe one man is having issue that's they can't reconciling it, because it was said, if I'm not mistaken, that the Hausas got the Afro-Asiatic language, they acquired it. It's not their original language. So it means genetically, okay, to be fair, even genetically, they are still R1B. So you can't even run away from that. So it's weird because the Hausa, when we look at them, they seem like one of us compared to the Fulanis, yeah, at least from the perception of Nigerians. But if you are looking at this data now, from what you are describing and from what I'm looking at right now too, is indicating that they are more Niger Congo and West African than we would like to admit.
To be honest, so when you look at the Hausa, not only that they are R1B at like 49% or something like that, 44 something percent, they are also E1B1A at like 12 something percent, and they're also the same B, but B is really old. B is
Okay, I
like
have
what
a question
the
for you.
Mbuti
Man. These
people
people
are, and
here,
B is
do
also
they
the
look
Dogon.
more or less? Yeah.
But why do Hausas look more
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Niger Congo than Fulanis? It's so strange though. If they have R1B in there and their language is Afro-Asiatic, which is also relatively foreign to West Africa, then why do they look so Niger Congo compared to Fulanis? Fulanis look more
I
like
think
Somalis.
I
But
don't
the
think
women are
they're Somali,
mostly
but
West African.
okay. Let me ask you guys a
That's the
question.
thing.
These people here, do they look like? Do they look to you like Africans or Arabians, or do they look more like Hausa or Fulani?
They don't look
These
black to
people
me.
you
They don't
consider.
look like black people. These are not
Really?
black people.
They don't. These are not. Are you serious?
They are
They
not.
got a white head shape.
This is not black
The
people.
head shape, but white
Oh
people.
my God, no! Don't even go there, guys. They
Yeah,
look
the head
like,
shape, their cranium,
Because
man.
they're skinny. These don't look like black.
they look
These
like
are
black
people
people, bro.
now.
Come on, you
on,
guys
these
are
black
Let's
people,
let's
come on.
not deny the obvious.
That head shape don't look black. That head shape look white.
What is the black head shape, bro? Because in our community we have a
Their
good
facial
That's
features,
different.
Well, of course,
their
because
hair
people in
texture.
our community mix with white too, so they got white head shapes.
So
Show the image of a Yoruba man, then you
yeah.
know what a black person looks like. Yeah.
No, you cannot
Yeah,
use your own
exactly.
tribe.
By having a round head makes you more African than those with a slimmer head. That don't make no sense.
No, these are black.
What they
For
used to do
sure.
that, like skull
Who
shape
are these? Are they Hausa or
chronology.
something? These are black people now. What else do you need? They are not. They are on the
To
African
Niger, if
continent. They
you
are
come
black.
across these people, would you think they are the same as you?
They are not exactly the same, but in terms of the continent, yes, I would think of them as Africans. They are not
Yo,
exactly the same.
There's East Indians as dark
It's
as
like
that, bro.
this. It's
These
like
are
this.
not black people. Let's just face the facts.
It's
These are
like
not black
this.
people.
You know,
These are East Indians as dark as
you
them.
have tribes. You have tribes in New Guinea, in Papua New Guinea, right? Who the Europeans discovered around the 1940s and World War II. And they had a plethora of different looks. Now, these are supposedly the most isolated people who existed on planet Earth. Some are light skinned with straight noses, some of them with flat features and dark skin. Some of them are light skinned with flat features. And, you know, in Papua New Guinea, the looks are pretty diverse. Now, if they have a lot of diversity in this one island, okay, Papua New Guinea.
Yeah, hang on. This is not Jedi Wayne, right? This obviously these are Oromos. Just for people saying that.
Let me finish my thought. When, you know, Africa, which is a larger landmass, do you think everybody's going to look this bloody the same? That don't make no sense, guys. Horrible logic.
They're not going to look the same. You're right. They're not going to look the same.
Africa is diverse. Nigeria is diverse.
No, but hang on. If you see a Dinka, right? If I put in a Dinka, you'll see it doesn't have an African head. This is the issue. A Yoruba man is not the definition of Africa. Yoruba man is one type of African, right? Because if you look at a Dinka head, right, you would say Dinka looks like a white head. A Dinka is not a white
Yeah,
person
but
either.
the Yoruba man is stereotypically black. So
no, this
anything
is why
that-
people don't
no,
like
no,
Nigerians.
sorry.
How about West African? They're the archetypical West African. How about that?
Hold on. The Yoruba man is the stereotypical black person. Anything that deviates from that is a variant. It's a variant of.
I disagree with that vehemently.
Yeah.
That's some serious voodoo talk there. That the Yoruba people are actually a little bit unusual actually. From what I observe, they have these the women you tend to have these eyes that tend to point upwards a little
Asian.
bit. Yeah, I wouldn't call it Asian. I think it's unique to Yoruba. You tend to see more of that. It's present in all groups, but you tend to see it more in them. It's not like
What?
But
Epicanthal fold? That's what you're talking about?
Pardon?
You talking about epicanthal fold with the eyes?
No. I don't know what it is. I don't know how
that
to
among
describe it.
certain African groups, and I'm like, oh wow, just interesting to see that. The epileptic fold.
Yeah, some people think that's Native American.
Yeah, I know they do, and the wide head.
Yeah.
Even in the artwork, you're going to
believe-
see it in the artwork. If you look at some of their artwork, like you see the eyes. It's not like like painted like level. It's pointed upwards on the edges. So they tend to have that among them more than most other groups. They tend to have more twins than most other distinct groups. But in terms of looks, if you ask me, I think the Cameroonian looks more like the Igbo or Southern Nigerians, like Benue people. Then if you go to like Togo and this in what they call them, Sierra Leone and Cote d'Ivoire, they tend to look more like your average. The Yoruba people, if anything, one man, they are the ones that look a little bit different from most other Nigerians or other West Africans, if you ask me. If anything, that may lend credence to the fact that when they say that some of them come from Egypt.
Does that make the ancient Egyptian, bro? Is that ancient Egypt?
No. I'm just adding from my own observation.
This is what a black man looks like. This is a Yoruba man. This is what a black man looks like. So when anybody thinks of a black man, this is what they think of. This is a typical average-looking Yoruba guy. So this is what a black person looks like.
Are you talking about black man?
Anything that looks different from this is a deviation from. It's a variant.
So South Africans are not black then, according to your argument.
What are you talking about? When did the South African become a black? What are you talking about?
South Africans are black, bro.
I think he's joking.
What you talking about? Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. He's joking.
I think, and even within the Yoruba, they have different groups, different people that look different a little bit. They are not just one look. Almost every group have that. Like some Igbo people are actually dark. They are not very light skinned. Like most
I
of
agree
them
with
are.
Crenshaw Grind on that one, as far as the Yoruba and the database, because according to the
James, this is making noise. Yeah, that's okay now.
Oh, sorry, Brian. We muted the wrong person. Go ahead.
according to in regards to the database, especially in the United States, they came later on in comparison to other groups. I totally agree with that.
If I wanted to share this image, I don't know whether somebody can open it up. Let me see. Like when you look at this Yoruba sculpture, it's like the eyes are slit, the nose is straight,
I
and
thought you have access to the stream, so why ask
yeah,
if
I
you don't?
Yeah,
do.
but
I don't know.
the artifacts are enunciated creative depictions. It's not a carbon copy. What are you talking about?
There are different types now.
They are accentuated, enunciated, creative presentations. It's not. What are you talking about?
I think okay. If that is the case, then it should be present in all of them, but not necessarily in all of them. Others tend to be different. They look
I've
different
just showed you
from
what a Yoruba man looks like. So why are you looking at artifacts to give you?
because the artifact is the old one. I guess maybe
The
because the ones you are
artifact is
showing me.
more representative of a photograph of a Yoruba person.
No, not necessarily. But you look different from that Yoruba man. That
I
Yoruba
don't
man.
look any different. I look exactly the same,
Okay, is it from your Allah? Please,
except
but
No, no,
except
no. You
more
don't.
handsome.
This Yoruba
Much
man looks
more
more like
handsome.
me. You look a little bit different. One man.
Yoruba man, what man like
Yeah.
to think that he looks
Look,
like
that
that
guy,
one?
as you see, that Yoruba man looks more like Kaiser. There. That does
Oh
not look
God.
like one man.
Oh
But your
God.
your color is a little bit like I can't be sure. I've not seen your video before, so I can't tell what your color is like. But this is what
It's dark like a Ghanaian from what we are seeing here.
yeah. You see, this is what baffles me. When I was, I saw those Olmec sculptures. I said, this will look African. Then I said, let me go and check Africans how they look. I was surprised to find Africans looking with slim noses. I was like, that's ridiculous. I was so confused
You
because
know
sometimes,
there's a lot of mythology in these imageries that are the Yoruba mythology, the Yoruba pantheon. It sees the person as a conduit to the deity. So it's that cross mix of deity and person that you're seeing in this depiction. So that's not representative of a person. That's representative of a person in a deified form.
that okay, yeah, that's true. But what I was describing, see this that eye going this thing, amongst the women. I don't see that in the men as much. Amongst the women, you tend to see that. I don't know whether you
I've
understand what
never
I'm
seen that.
describing.
You must be
Let
on
me
some
see
special
Yoruba.
diet. Yeah,
Let me see Yoruba women.
yeah. Show a real person. Yes. Uh-huh.
So let's see. Where you call this one? I don't know.
Okay. So
Because it's
where's
small,
the
you
eyes
can't
pointing
trust
up
them.
there? Where's the eyes
Uh,
pointing up there?
hold on,
No, that
hold
looks
on.
that
I'm
looks
Click
like
on
looking.
my
another
eyes,
one.
man. Wait,
Click
hang
on
on, hang
click
on.
on
Those look
click on
Let
exactly
me
another
like
let me
my
one.
see.
eyes.
It's a
Where's
little
the
bit
eyes
Hang
pointed
on.
pointing
up.
up there?
This one is
Wait,
pointed
wait.
up.
One man, one man. Those look exactly like my eyes. They look like Asiatic eyes. You have to
No, they
agree
don't.
with that.
Those are made up. They do all this makeup to do whatever it is
Yeah.
that makeup does. You know what makeup does,
Yo,
Kaizo. You are in that space.
it's called
Okay.
applicancer phone. I don't know why
If
y'all
you look
keep
at this
like
one,
a lot of people have
see,
those.
I don't know why you have not noticed it to one man. I notice it amongst Yorubas quite a bit, and the most beautiful ones are the ones that tend to have that. I don't know why you have not
I'm
noticed
not
that.
sure that you should insist that Yoruba women have superior eyes. I don't
No, I
see
didn't
where
say
this.
superior eyes. I said they when they the ones that tend to come like that tend to be the beautiful ones, and it's not like because they are light. They are not even light skin and all. They are the dark ones, and they have them. And I don't know why you have not noticed that because I noticed it that they're a little bit different because I grew up in the
But no, because I
south of
don't have
Nigeria.
your fetish. That's why I don't see things like
It's not
that.
a it's not a
Yeah.
fetish because I grew up in the in the Port Harcourt. You see, so if you grew up in Port Harcourt, you know the kind of people you're used to seeing more of. So when I went to Lagos, you tend to see them. The Yoruba people, they look slightly. You see that eye shape. It's not like it's minority of them that have it, but in the other groups, it's barely present. So that's what I used to say. Okay, this is the demarcation between Yorubas and other groups. They generally are darker than the South Easterners. But that said, in terms of facial looks, there's a slight difference you pick up on there. Like if you look at this one now, you a little bit of it you see that around this area.
Can you not see that the makeup has been done to present?
Oh wait, no, she
I
looks
look.
very
What are
beautiful,
you?
man.
That's
This
what
looks
I'm
like my
saying.
type,
I'm
man.
telling him he doesn't
Yeah.
notice
Yeah,
his own
that's
women.
a typical that's the typical Yoruba woman though. Chiseled jaw, high cheekbones, piercing eyes, moderate forehead. That's what a forehead looks like, by the way, Kaizo. Not what you guys have in Kenya. What you guys have in Kenya is not a forehead; it's a five head. I don't know quite what's going on there. Yeah, what's with the forehead in your space, Kaizo? What's going
And
on?
the forehead comes from ancient Nilotic groups that the East Africans mixed with. So
Yeah, it's like a
the forehead
tumor.
yeah.
Yeah, that forehead though is quite something I have to say. But I don't know whether it's a bad thing per se. Some of them do look quite good with it.
But you
Yeah,
don't only find that in Yoruba women though. You find it in a lot of like I knew like a Nigerian woman, but she was like Igbo, but she had those type of eyes too. She said she wasn't mixed. What
yeah.
Yoruba?
And you see,
So
this
this
is
is
the
just a West
problem.
African thing.
See, this is the problem. When you put all these pictures, you barely even know who is true Yoruba, who is not. So the ones you probably get from there is if you say girl or teenager or something like that, then you may actually get the real deal, or even this one. Oh goodness, I'm sure that give up. There's no point. You can't even find the real people anymore because some of all these people are models. You can't even tell who is real Yoruba and who is not anymore. Some of them are models.
That's
Everybody is racially ambiguous these days. To Nigeria, I'm not sure that there's anywhere still in the world there might well be that you have racial purity. Everybody is somewhat racially ambiguous these days.
Yeah, when they are busy trying to look like Arabic women, and maybe that's the problem with all this their makeup. I can't tell who is who anymore. Even I put girls, it's not showing up any girls. Woman. Maybe under woman you go traditional or something that doesn't have a lot of stuff on it. Village. Oh God, 19th century. Okay, that might pull some stuff out. Um, let's see.
I mean,
Okay,
Google's
this
not
looks
So
normal.
Google's not a good indicator of anything.
right.
You
Maybe,
have to,
maybe, maybe one man is right.
there's
Is
a
in my
difference.
own
There's
eyes.
a
I don't
difference
know.
between Google and real life.
Mm.
Big difference.
So in my family, Yoruba is the only tribe in Africa that was talked about in the family, right? And there's a lot of women in my family, on my mom's side particularly, that got eyes like that. My brother even got eyes like that.
Mm.
So hey, I don't
Yeah.
know, we might be Yoruba.
Oh, that shouldn't be shocking.
I mean, you won't be
They
you
were
A lot
won't
of
very
be
smart
much.
only
people in my family
you
too.
won't be you
So
won't be only Yoruba. If you're African American anywhere in the New World, you're going to be a
oh
diverse
yeah,
different group of African groups. That's just
oh yeah,
facts.
100%. We definitely a con.
That's just
But
facts.
but but
You won't be one thing here unless your family came here like really really late, especially with
And then we were isolated. Yep.
right and isolate like that group of people from Africa Town. I think it was in Alabama or something like that. It was
Right.
the last slave ship that came to the United States,
yeah,
and that was
But
Greece,
then you also got to think is like people mixing with other people too, like just throughout like the decades.
Greece. You
So they
remember
gonna
that?
get mixed up anyway.
right.
Sorry,
Yes, sir.
sorry. Let me just ask him. You remember that manifest that we saw,
Hmm.
and they differentiated the groups in Nigeria, but in the Central African Republic,
I
the
know they
Central
dissed
Africa,
us. They
they
dissed
just
us,
go.
bro. They
I,
dissed us.
oh my
They
God, I don't know what that's all
we get
about.
we get disrespected all the time because of the consistent rebellions of Central Africans. I mean, the biggest rebellion in the United States was the Stonewall Rebellion, but the Congo's name still lives on in different parts of the United States, especially New Orleans. I mean, there's no Yoruba Square or Eve Square or Ashanti Square, but there's a fucking Congo Square where
Yeah,
Africans used to meet to drum in places like New Orleans and places
Oh,
names like Angola.
you know what? I have to give it to you, man. You really do represent for the Central Africans and the others. But that said, though, that
because
manifests.
they were the majority. They were the
Is
vast
that
majority.
have you found out that whether that is normal or is just like if
It was
fake?
pretty much normal, unfortunately.
Wow,
And
that
all the different, especially even in South Carolina, where a huge percent of the people come from Central Africa. I'm not saying everybody come from Central Africa, but because a lot of people came from the Sahel region, along with the Windward Coast, Ashanti. Igbos came in very, very last, but I would say Eastern Nigerians were very, very dominant in places like Virginia. That's why I always say it always depends on the demand of the plantation owners at that particular time, which group of people they wanted, because they knew that certain African peoples could do certain things that they would be able to take advantage of.
yeah, I think
Right,
that's
because like
true.
in the Carolinas, they had that rice industry that they got people from the Casamance region in
Right.
Senegal, and they
Exactly.
brought them over, and that's where people have that. Yep.
Right. And then most of the interesting thing, and most of the house slaves actually came from the Semi-Gambian region. That's why a lot of Semi-Gambian sort of like cuisines you could see within the African American community. Because I remember I had a debate with someone from Louisiana online. It was a Creole person. I knew it was. So that's, and he said that red rice, or what they call jambalaya, came from the Spaniards.
Yeah,
And and it's funny though, because I remember going to New Orleans with my lady and several different times and tried jambalaya. It tastes exactly like red rice, what we call red rice, or what you might call jollof rice. And I said, hold up, you saying that jambalaya come from Spain, but we in South Carolina been eating that for quite a long time. We have no connection with you guys like that.
mm.
And I
No, but
think
there's also
it was
like
made,
what
and
do you
it's
call
made
it?
the same exact way. Only difference that people in New Orleans do is they put shrimps in it.
And you know what? There's a whole bunch of like traditions of just people like because you got like the black eyed peas, like the cow peas. That was from the Sahel region. That was brought over into. That's why they have that tradition on New Year's when you eat a bunch of like what do you call it? Like black eyed peas and stuff like that, and mix it in what they call it, hop and john or something like that.
Right.
When you mix it with rice, yeah. So like all that stuff, that's Gambia. So
Right. And
that's
also
all Sahel region.
peanut soup and all that type of stuff. I never
Hmm.
tried peanut soup, but people in my family have. That came from that region as well too. And I can't stand okra. I only like it fried for some weird reason. But all the different okra dishes that certain people of my family used to make, it obviously came from that somewhere in Africa, or
So,
they
so
brought that here.
let me just add this again. You see, this is the one that resembles what I'm talking about most. If you look at this corner here, it's going slightly up. I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes, and this is why I'm surprised it's not noticed a bit more. I've seen it with my own eyes, and they have different sculptures. It's not like it's the same people. They have different people. This is sculpture. Like this one doesn't have it. They deliberately did this one not to have that this in going up. But I've seen it. I don't know why. I don't know how to pinpoint what that is really, because when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, that's a little bit different." I know that other people have it, but within the Yoruba group, you see more of it. And you can even tell their eyes are just a little bit different. It's not exactly the same as the other groups. So they are quite. There's a reason why they are showing up on the map. They are not exactly the same as everyone else around them. They have their own unique ways, their own unique their cultures. So yeah, that's what I really wish they talked more about it. I don't know why I'm the one talking about it, because a Yoruba man didn't care. He didn't think that anything was there, but I'm the one that noticed that stuff. If you look at it, this is a Yoruba man for crying out loud. You, if you look at a black Nigerian, you will not think this is what you should be seen as their sculpture with this type of facial features. And for me, I was shocked because I came to find people with wide noses, but that's not what you found. Some of these noses are even straighter than some of these sculptures in Egypt. It's crazy, and so I don't get it. And maybe this
No,
is
they
the
got wide
ancient look.
nostrils.
They
They got wide nostrils.
this one.
There's other ones too. I'm very
Which other one?
familiar with these
Oh,
Ile Ife brown hairs. Yeah,
yeah.
Like
I
this
like
one
I like
has,
the
like
Ife
this one
brown stuff.
does, like this
especially
one
the
does.
terracotta ones.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, this one does have it. But these ones too does, but some of them don't. Some of them don't. This
You're
is
right.
have
Some
it,
of them don't. Some of them are smaller.
and that's what you see. I think Keso was talking about Tone M. If you look at Tone M, he's a Nigerian, but he could pass for somewhere East African, with benign features. If you remove his color and just took his head shape, you think he's probably some kind of European or North African even quite easily. So
I think that's I don't know
So,
about
so, so,
that.
are you saying that they come from Egypt? Are you saying that the Yoruba are not West African in origin?
I don't know. I think they are probably West African in your origin. You see, people might. I never buy this idea that people migrate and then they just move wholly and change the neighborhood. I think what they do is they migrate, then they integrate with the local group. Otherwise, they will come with their language. Why are they not speaking Egyptian language? They
Right.
integrate with the local group and become part of the local group, which eventually within 10 generations will almost by and large wipe out their genetic lineage. Because when you are procreating with a group, a dominant group, and over time your own genetic lineage will disappear. And just 10 generations alone can reduce. Let's say let's say somebody goes to a white country now and you procreate and your child procreates with another white person, within 10 generations, if there is no
I think it is
specific
even less than
selection,
that. I think it's even less
from
than
from
that,
my
though.
calculation, if there is no specific selection, your genetic this thing will come down to about 0 point something percent.
I see what you're
So
saying.
you disappear. So then that's why I don't buy the idea. Maybe you can say cultural migration, but not genetic one. The genetic one has disappeared a long time ago. Except of course they
I
have
agree.
selection. Mm.
I agree because people try to think I'm tripping if I'm saying like Yoruba and them don't come from ancient Egyptians and people in West Africa that they developed those civilizations themselves and that they have older civilizations there and other cultures that directly comes from. Like you can see that the Yoruba and the Igbo come from things like the Nook culture because you got these similarities and you got a lot of things. So like and these things are going on while the ancient Egyptian civilization going on at the same time. So all I'm saying is that we have something that was unique to our ancestors, and we didn't need an outside group coming in and teaching us anything.
I
That's
don't think
that's
it's
my whole thing.
necessarily an outside group. I mean, you could migrate from somewhere, and you could create
You
something
can.
totally different. I believe I'm at the what I believe is not necessarily everyone comes from somewhere, but humanity had in the beginning, and from there we all spread about because I believe that throughout human history, people have been migrating everywhere until they settled. But other communities, let's say like certain Mongol tribes, Manis, and others, decided just migrate everywhere, where other groups just pretty much decided to settle
Hmm.
and
Right.
make this their
Right.
land. A good example of that, if you look at the Americas, is the Aztecs. I mean, they actually came from what I guess Texas. Maybe they were
Yeah,
way down
somewhere in like
south.
Arizona or something.
Right. Maybe they went way down south. They got rejected by all the tribes. They were like saying, fuck you, you bunch of migrants and ingrates or what have you. Until they landed into a place which is now Mexico City. I guess according to their myth and legend, when a bird or eagle eat a cactus, eat a
They ate a
snake
snake when it landed on the
cactus,
cactus.
right?
Yep.
This is going to be our land. So at one time the Aztecs were were migrants.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
yeah. I
mainly
think
the
I think
The Mexica
they
though.
said they went to some of the most inhospitable areas and built their civilization. That they are the people that put them there thought they were not going to be able to develop or something like that. I don't know whether it's the Aztecs or one other group that was there, but I think it should be this is the Aztecs. They went when they came and they gave them this land, and the king didn't think that they were going to prosper from there, but they were very in there. This is a kind of
Yeah, but they
ingenious.
were rejected by other tribes, though. Other
Yes,
Right, because you know how that went down, right?
because they
Because
were wicked now.
one of the Mexica thing they like flayed the skin of like the princess that he was supposed to bring the
Exactly.
royal skin.
They
Yeah,
were
that
Yeah.
wicked.
crazy shit. Yeah,
They were some brutal
I
people,
was like,
man.
say they did some crazy inventive
yeah.
shit. I have to admit, I'm glad I wasn't living back then.
I'm telling you,
Yeah,
man,
I
they were
love them.
some bloody people.
These savages, man.
No,
But that's Mexico
they
because
still are
Aztec was a confederation, though.
They were. They still
They're
are to a certain
confederate. Yeah.
degree. I mean,
Right.
I give them big ups too, because I've been to Mexico and some people still do speak the Aztec language. They do.
But these knock people, were they high or something? Because I don't know how many cultures do this
The
type of
art is
art.
beautiful.
I love that. I love this
I'd
sculpture, bro. I
No,
love
no,
this sculpture.
no,
it's
no.
more like
Yeah, it
abstract art
is.
to me.
But why do it?
Come
Not
on, man.
one
That's
that
our
remain
ancestors,
to
bro.
look like
Stop.
the people there. No,
That's like
I know.
abstract art.
I'm not trying to denigrate it. I'm just, why did they choose this style? Just uniquely. They didn't try to replicate. They could replicate the actual human being, but they just chose this style. Why?
They
It's
probably
really
gods.
interesting.
Probably they were probably gods, or they were probably representations of stuff. Like, or they were probably communicating something. We don't really know. So we don't even
Yeah.
know the function of the sculptures. So the sculptures could have had a religious thing
I
too.
love that sculpture. I have that in one of my I think I copied it. That sculpture right there.
This one, or
Yeah. That one to the right. That one right there. Yeah.
this
I
one,
copied
yeah,
that.
it's a beautiful one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
My favorite
That
one is the hippo.
eye stuff is still there.
And it's
Again.
another one that I
That's Yoruba.
like too. It's
That's
kind of
Yoruba.
like I always see
Oh,
this.
is it a knock? Is that knock?
Yeah, that's
No, that's
no.
not no.
That
No,
can't be knock.
not the big one.
That
That's not
looks
no.
more like Yoruba to me.
That's
No,
Ile
that's not
Ife.
Yoruba. You're right. That's not no
Yeah,
sculpture.
that's Ile Ife. That's the terracotta stick.
Let's see Igbo Uku, this thing, because they said the knock is the one that seeded most of the civilizations in that region. Igbo Uku. I don't know whether I got it right, but we'll see. Oh, they have it too. So you see the Igbo Uku one. Their own sculptures is made with brass. They can't. The stone is too lame for them. I guess they don't have a lot of stones in those areas because they have a lot of red sand and all that stuff. So they just went with brass. This thing. From what I got, they did some intricate stuff. Look at how intricate that stuff is.
Yeah, man.
With
They also had
brass.
that bracelet that's like a snake and everything, but it has all these like things inlaid inside of it.
Yeah.
It's also brass too. Yep.
And I also like the
It's
representation
blue.
of the clothing that they used to wear back then too. That
Right.
give credence that indigenous people actually were inventive and they had some type of industry in regards to weaving cotton and having different types of clothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Quite cool. Anyway.
See, that's the thing that they really hiding from us. They hiding what our ancestors actually did. But niggas on here like polite. Another group of people like the Hoteps. They want to tell us that we are ancient Egyptians and we come from ancient Egypt, and then we don't need to look at our West African ancestry and what our ancestors did in West Africa. They're always trying to connect us or connect them to ancient Egypt somehow, so they don't got to talk about West Africa.
I think the reason why they do that, I think part of the problem with Egypt is that most Africans fear that they are trying to pull Egypt out of Africa. It's not a fear, it's a real thing. They are trying to pull Egypt out of Africa to make it look like it's a non-African civilization, when clearly it's an African one. It's almost like the Greek civilization. You want to pull it into Africa. You will not blame even the Nordic people to want to resist and say no, that's a European this is civilization, even if it's not a
Right,
Nordic
I
people that did it.
totally agree with that. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to drill in you guys' heads when I was in the past. I don't consider it like ancient Egypt. I consider it now the Ali civilization. It consists of both what is the regions of today is Egypt and the northern areas of Sudan. Obviously, there's no other pyramids that's been built in the Mediterranean, but they were built in both Egypt and Sudan. They share the same common religion, similar cultures, all that type of region, and they conquered each other. It depending on the group, because you had different groups of the same group, as some scholars used to say, lived in both countries. Like the 12th dynasty, in Egypt was, according to scholars, of people of Tasheti origin, but they didn't allow Kushites to enter Egypt. They had this borderline between them. So it's becomes very, very confusing with these crazy, really, entanglements. And then what you might see in Sudan too, of ruins of New Kingdom temples like Jebel Bakal, Soeb, Quintia temple in Sudan today, and it still exists today. And archaeologists, hopefully the war will end, but they're probably still going in plundering anyway. Still going in those areas and studying those regions as well too.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much grounded within the African landmass and also within the African story.
Yeah, whenever these Egyptians today that are always complaining that Afrocentrics are trying to steal their history, one thing they need to understand is that that even if they need to put their eyes to the fact that if, like now, I search northern Egyptian people, look at what it gave you. But even till today, you search southern Egyptians, you still see the dark ones there, and they will just argue that, oh no, the black people don't have anything to do with it. But look at the southern Egyptians till today. And there was this lady that is from southern Egypt that came online, and she was complaining about this. She was like, why is it that they are being, in short, she said they are being racist towards them. To her, she said it's like air, like it's normal in Egypt for them to be racist towards the dark people. That any Egyptian that tells you that they are not racist towards them, they are lying. That's what they do. They discriminate against the darker Egyptians. So, and those ones that keep accusing Afrocentrics, all you need to tell them is that, you know what, go to southern Egypt today. Even with all the invasion and everything that has happened in the past, they are still there. Not all of them have changed. Not all of them have turned a light skin, which they could have. You know, we talked about it earlier on. Just 10 generations, you can completely turn somebody. You don't even need to be up to 10 generations. If a black man marries a European now, within 2 to 3 generations, the person that they will have will look pure white. If the person
yo, I just want to show you what the British Museum took from Africa. Especially, they took a lot of things from Nigeria. Like these sculptures, you gotta pay as a Nigerian to see in Britain. This is.
I just want to make one. I just want to make one comment. Janola, you forgot Central Africa. That's my talking
point.
Like
you love being an advocate for that, Dusty. Man. Yeah, hang on. Let me just respond quickly to the chat. Right, Mrs. H and these Dusties are coming for me. Listen, Mrs. H, getting women is the easiest thing to you can do. Right, it's the easiest thing. Right, niggas like me had all of them white, Indian. There's evidence of what, and I shouldn't be saying this is how niggas get caught. Right, point is, women are the easiest thing in this world. Money, now that shit is hard. Right, that's what I'm trying to focus my life on right now.
Yeah,
making me a millionaire. Right, I'm already on the path. Right, the white man stole $6,700 from me on Cash App. Right, he doesn't want to give it up. Right, that's fine. I'll get it back. Right, my God is money, not punani, money. Right, money is the easiest thing, man. Especially Somali women are the easiest of all of them. Easy, right? And right now, do you want me to share my WhatsApp group? They sent me 500 missed calls, asking and begging me to see them. Do you want me to share that screen?
Why are you trying to flex?
I'm not flexing, right? This nigga's out here.
Wait, Kaiser, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead, brother.
Do you only stick with one woman? Like, I know in Africa you guys have this culture.
No, I have a beautiful. Hang on. I have a beautiful Gabra woman, mashallah. Is granted me a superior African over there. 25% of my genes come from that lineage. Shout out to her. I only worship Gabra women, right? Women who are beautiful like that right now, right? Shout out. I'm not a cheater. I will never go involve myself in bad things because Kaizo is a superior black man. He's not one of these weird black men like Polite getting caught doing some crazy shit. And Kaizo ain't got no money right now.
Kaizo, what happened to Bwangia women? Like, did you like?
I actually tried it once in the UK. She declined me.
She declined you?
Yep.
Wait, only Wanga and Somali women that declined you, right?
No. Somali never declined me. It's only Wanga and Fulani that declined me. One Fulani declined me.
Wait, it was Ghanaian, right?
No, the Ghanaian broke my heart. That's a separate story. I don't want to talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, that was not decline. Right? The Nigerian actually, the Nigerian ran away midway through sex. Right?
What?
Promise to
God. You gotta explain.
I don't have a clue, man. Our women are complicated now. What do you?
She ran away. She actually just ran away, and she said it's too big, and then she left the house.
Oh my God, not to lie.
Nah, but
I promise you tonight. I promise you.
Women run away from me because it's too big. I doubt it.
Yeah, see, Mrs. H, listen, Mrs. H, listen. When you want to troll someone, let me give you guys advice, right?
That shit is
Troll
funny.
someone based on their ego. Clearly, you guys have seen my girlfriends, etc., right? So clearly, Kaiser is not some dusty incel. Like, use something that's real. Find something that hits me. Okay, Kaiser, you're really low IQ. You left UK because you couldn't get a job as a researcher. So you ran back to Africa pretending to be a YouTuber. Find something that will actually hit my ego. Stop focusing on useless things. I am a listen. Niggas like me is out here ruling the world when it comes to women. Come for me for money. Kaiser, you're dusty. You lost $6,700 to a white man. Kaiser, you couldn't even compete with the white man in research science, so you had to run away to Nairobi where the competition is less. Find my ego, right? Find what I value. You know, it's crazy when you try to help people, but they still
Kaiser, why are you
don't get it.
exposing yourself there? You can't keep up
I'm
with
trying to
the
help
white
them.
man.
I'm trying to help these niggas, but I'm trying the IQ level. Look, let me give you an example, right? Darth came up yesterday and he's trying to give me advice. Oh, Kaizo, hey, you know, you must find a new direction because these days you don't even have people panelists, bro. You're looking at one day when people niggas at work. That's what I'm saying. The African cannot think transtemporally. I've been making bank. I'm talking about fact check the last couple of days. This niggas are stupid, man. Low IQ. Anyways, Kaiser done with this little flexing on this low IQ Africans. But yeah, we got a couple of new people. Shout out to Snake Man and Andre.
Wait, I just want to say that Tunaja,
Yeah.
what is you're a British black man, like these people stolen a lot of things from Africa, and the British Museum owns 80% of Africans' treasury, African culture. If you look out, they own the most insane thing. They robbed Africa from their culture. How you view this as a black British? Do you think they should give us back? And do you think that we can take care the stuff? And they say that we're just too low IQ to take care of our treasury. And they don't even trust. They don't trust us to keep it good. What's your thoughts on that?
I think there's some logic to it. If I'm being dispassionate about it, our people could be very reckless. They could, without sounding politically correct, they may not be able to maintain it. They may decide, they may even have somebody, he might get in there, then some other person will just come and steal it, and then it goes into the black, this in the market, and nobody knows where the art is anymore. So there's some truth there, and some people will reflexively want to think that this is being apologetic. It's just a fact. If you are not strong, you are not able to secure. They can't even secure the transformers. How are you supposed to secure this in the arts properly in Nigeria with the kind of corruption you have going on? You can see why, and it's a shameful thing to admit. It's just what it is. Their country is not as insecure as ours.
Yeah, but Tunaja, they told the Chinese that they're too low IQ to keep their culture and their treasury safe, and they think the British Museum said it's safe in Britain, and the Nigerians are trying to get their treasury back, and the Chinese are they want their stuff back, but the museum is saying that they can't take care of it.
You mean they said that to the Chinese?
Yeah, they said
the
that
Chinese can do it. The Chinese can
that's just bad nonsense. The Chinese definitely
the British Museum said that to Niger. It's bullshit.
I have not heard of that. That's this stupidest excuse to give about the Chinese. You can make all kinds of excuses, but you can't tell them that they are not secure.
Why are you taking them seriously? That is my question.
I don't know.
Something.
No, you have to take them serious because they're so powerful. The British Museum owns 80% of the third world's culture. If you look at it, they stole a lot of things from Egypt. They stole a lot of things from Nigeria. They stole a lot of things from China as well. Mm-hmm. These people have robbed, and you can't make those excuses that you can't take care of your treasury and we should keep it for you. And people have to pay to see those things. Doesn't make sense to you?
No. Yes, because the British are the British. What do you expect?
No, they robbed. No. Did
you expect the sky not to be blue?
They didn't buy it. They robbed the treasury.
Yes, because they're the British. Do you expect the sky not to be blue?
You're basically saying that the British they should do it and they should get away with it.
No. I never said they should do it, but why are you surprised that they are doing it?
Yeah, exactly. What I'm saying is the power have shifted, and the British are not they're not as powerful they used to be, and they should give their what they took back to these
For the
people.
Chinese, yes, they should. But for the Nigerians, have the Nigerians proven themselves to be worthy? I'm not sure. I can't be 100% sure.
Yeah, I think Tuna that take is anti like this. That's the worst take that I ever heard from you.
Yeah,
You don't believe in
I say
the
these things.
Nigerian.
I say this because we are in a country where we have 4 refineries. None of them are working. There is no constant power supply in the country. We have IDP camps, internally displaced people's camps in Nigeria. There are areas that people cannot go and feel safe in the country. So, yeah, excuse me for acknowledging the reality on the ground. I'm not happy to say it that these people they may have a point. I don't think the point they are making is real. They are using it as an excuse to just keep it, but it's still a valid point to say if you bring this into the continent, there's no guarantee that they can keep it safe, except they want to put it in Nassau Rock, maybe.
Tuna, I agree with you on that. But look, how can you say it's valid? They don't want to give the Greece. You know, the Greece, they can keep their treasury, but they don't want to give them back. They don't want to give the Chinese, the Greece, and Italy. They don't want to give anything back. And these
That's
people
why I
can
say it's
take
an
their stuff.
excuse. It's an excuse, but some of the excuses are obviously clearly invalid because you can see through it. But in the case of the Nigerian one, it's not that clear cut because literally you can put that thing on the ground today, tomorrow they can steal it if you're not careful. So because people don't take security very, very seriously, they could secure. It's possible that they can secure it, like the Benin Kingdom now. Maybe if they organize people, they may be able to secure. But the chances, you can't guarantee that somebody is not going to do something. Ask UFC now.
Basically, it will happen like in Brazil. When they had those ancient bones from very old hominids as a human, and what happened is someone put fire to the museum, and now everything is gone.
You see that the Egyptian Alexander. Are you talking about the library?
No, I'm talking about a museum in Brazil that had very old human bones, very old.
Yeah, but ancient humans are different. But what we're talking about is like a culture of a nation that nations need their culture. You can't steal them from. And you're talking about ancient hominins.
It's very important because those bones show that there was a population before the Indian generation came in, a population of astronauts.
The problem is that cultural part. You have to, because sometimes they could decide to give it back just for it to go end up into the black market because they know they can steal it back. So what is the use of that? If they truly want it, they can keep it anyway. So if you ask me, if Nigeria was in a good place where they can secure those things, I would say yes, go. They get your stuff back because that's what you are supposed to do. But if you are not so sure that you can secure it, then maybe you have other things to worry about. You should be worried about sorting your house out. It's like somebody say, I have this very nice, this a computer with some other person, but the house I live in is flooded. And you are worrying about getting the computer back. Where are you going to put it if you are living in flood? So it's of no use. You have to take care of the flood. Then you go and bring your machine and plug it in, and everybody will be happy.
Me and you, we got difference. And for me, I believe that Nigerians can keep their treasury and their culture safe, and the Nigerian government can protect that. And I think they're better than most countries. Like if you look in Africa, Nigeria might be top 3 by protecting their culture. You know, by defending their culture in security. They're probably good at security compared to
we defend our culture, not necessarily because we are not defending artifacts. You see what I mean? Artifacts is it's a slightly different thing. I don't know. Maybe you are right. Maybe we can.
Artifacts is culture. Artifacts is culture. Like
what tonight is saying, no. What tonight is saying, we defending our culture. Basically, those ancient things that are let us say 500, 700 years old is still part of our active culture. It's not a part of a dead culture. It's not an artifact. It's actual cultural property.
Yeah.
And those artifacts you're talking about is from another culture that doesn't no longer exist. What tonight is saying is, because he understands Nigeria and I do too. Let's get these artifacts back when we have solved all the other problems. Can we do that?
But Snake Man, you know who made that culture? Nigerians. Who made the Benin Kingdom and their beautiful civilization, and
Oh my
the
God.
people are
You
still
don't
there.
understand what we are saying. We
No, he's an outsider. He uses Nigerians as a collective. Benin Kingdom don't give a fuck about Nigerians.
No. I'm using African treasury belongs in Africa. It don't belong in Western Europe.
Of course, it doesn't belong there. The question is, I just
I'm
gave
gonna
you.
throw,
We
I'm gonna
have
throw a
bigger
question in.
fishes to fry.
I'm gonna throw,
You
I'm gonna throw one little question to him. Do you, with the present situation in Sudan, and I know that the British Museum have a lot of, ancient stuff from Sudan in the British Museum, been there once. Do you think they should get their artifacts back in Sudan if they demand it now?
It should be a system. Like it should take them two
Given
or
the
three
current
years.
situation on the ground in Khartoum, do you think they should get their artifacts back now?
I don't think it is such a thing as now. It takes time. It takes like
Mhm.
for Benin, it took like months to get them
Right.
back their
now you
I'm
stuff.
stuff.
just saying.
It,
I'm
it,
just throwing
and
that
no,
out
it
there.
takes process. Stuff takes time. You
Right.
understand?
What I'm saying is, from a looking at it from a Sudanese point of view, and I'm taking a little bit of
Yeah.
Tunisi's side on this one. I don't think they should get their artifacts back due to the fact that they demonstrate how certain parties there disrespected.
I think they should be promised that they will get their stuff back if they can make the safety requirements. In one day.
One day, but when?
Yeah,
UFC.
but it should be promised. It shouldn't be like forever in British Museum. That's what I mean.
Let's ask somebody that is in Nigeria, because maybe I'm speaking a little bit out of turn here. UFC, is there any case in Nigeria where Nigeria has successfully, protected, ancient artifacts that are actually quite valuable? Do they protect it reasonably well, continuously for decades? UFC, are you there?
I can answer that. He's not there, but I think
Okay,
that
go
would
ahead.
Yes, yes, I'm here. I'm
because
here. I'm
okay,
here.
yes, you can answer.
For instance, in those states, most of the artifacts are kept in the Oba Palace. You understand me? Because currently, as we speak, some of the artifacts that were returned back to Edo State, for example, there's an issue between the governor and the king, the Oba, because the Oba said this artifact belongs to his family. They are
Yep.
owned by the palace. But the state governor said he is building a museum that the artifact should be kept in the museum. You understand me? So
Yep.
that's
Yep.
the ongoing issue as we speak now.
I mean,
You see,
technically, by blood right,
we've already started
it's
arguing.
his artifact. Technically, by his
Uh,
kingly right.
wait, Tuna. I mean, have you seen what Caesar's saying? He's like mixing two problems. Like he's mixing the problems our Nigerians having and a thief. The British were a thief and they stole a lot of things. And
Okay,
he's like,
Andre, we keep it very shortly.
no,
We Nigerians have no interest. No, we keep it 100. We Nigerians have no interest on upping the English Museum. We have a lot of problems, and artifacts are way in the back. Like goods that when we can get into this good, but we know because of our nature that there will be problems because everyone reclaims that shit. There is no unified voice. So before we get, that's why I say, can we fix the state before we talking about artifacts, because that is
Okay,
more important.
okay, to Nigeria. Let me ask this. In Nigeria, we always say the government, they are always in control of everything. Because even the people have not fought one day for government to release some of those things that we claim the federal government, like they are in federal government position. You understand me? Sometimes all we just do, we normally complain about things. We don't really do the work. For instance, if it was not Lagos that pursue for the federal government to allow state to produce and distribute electricity by themselves, that would have still been in the federal government executive list. So you see, some of the Nigerian problem is not really about the federal government really. We, the people, are not even doing anything to create the change we claim we are seeking. We're not doing anything. For
I
instance,
think
even
okay.
the tech sectors, there were young Nigeria who decided to propose a bill to protect that sector. And the federal government also, they did the right thing, they approve it, they make it law. So we always think that like nothing can happen. It can if we work for it. Most time we don't want to do the work.
It's not necessarily the case though. In all, as well in majority of the cases, I agree with you that Nigerians we don't tend to target one thing and get it done. And to be fair, even when you look at it in reality, we do get things done. And I think this kind of stuff where we just pretend as if nothing is ever being done. Some
Thank
things
you.
are being done. It's just that the problem is that the stuff that is
I agree
getting
with
done
you.
is not sustainable, and it's things that are not. It
It
doesn't
takes time.
give us enough prosperity. It's not about time. It doesn't give us enough prosperity. The things we are doing are not give the areas we should be putting some of this energy on. It could have been power supply. Those ones when you nail that one, it makes a big difference. Security, it makes a big
But
difference. But
okay, but
we'll succeed
so-
in we succeed in protecting entrepreneurs in Lagos. Basically, it's not going to
okay,
make a serious
to Niger,
impact.
to Niger. If we look at it, electricity is an international commodity. Let's be honest. The production and how you process this thing is very expensive. Most
Mhm.
Nigerians, average Nigerian, want electricity, but they are not ready to pay for it. They want 24 hours electricity, but they want it cheap. And it is not it is very expensive to produce energy.
For
So
good reasons, for relatively good reasons, even if you can say it's also a little bit misguided given the realities, because they have a country that should have four
it's not
refineries
that I'm
functional.
making excuse for
But
government. I know our people. Our people always claim they want things, but they are not ready to pay for it. Are you
both
ready to
Why?
pay
Why?
sides
for
Why
it?
they
both
doing
sides
such?
are
Why they
involved.
doing?
i
Why they
think i
doing
think
such a
when you
good
keep
job?
blaming one side, is not both sides are contributing to it. This is why whenever we talk about these things, I keep saying think about it like a circle, like a yin yang thing. It's a feedback loop. The citizens create the government and the government create the citizens, and that's how they're all creating this vicious circle. Just as much as you're criticizing the citizens, those criticisms could also be tabled with the government too. So tell me that it's not only one side.
Nigeria might have a problem with electricity. What I'm saying is Nigeria has one of the successful museums in Africa, and Nigeria can probably do it. And the great thing, if you look at history, is Nigeria's treasury. Nigeria's what they built. It's bigger than life. You got to see this. And
Will
Why?
it do it?
I know that it's not
Seriously?
that big of a problem. Like Nigeria has a bigger
Niger,
problem when it comes
to
to like
Niger,
electricity,
to
water.
Niger, to Niger.
Yes.
Let me, for
Yes.
example, I have a lot of friends who run small business. I'm not going to lie, in my state here. Let me tell you this, to Niger. They make money and keep it. They hardly pay tax. But same
True.
people, they complain online that they want development, but they make money and keep it. They don't pay any tax. So
See,
we,
the problem there is
Funny.
that
UFC can say that the tax system doesn't work, but when Snakeman says it, Snakeman, what are you talking about? Tax system is working. What are you
no,
talking
what I'm
about?
saying is that people are making money and keep it 100%. They don't pay tax, nothing. But same
yeah, but what
people,
who do you think created those people? You can also this is why if we have to, when we talk about this type of thing, we have to all take responsibility for the mess we have
yes,
all created.
that's what I'm saying.
We are
That's
all
what I'm
responsible for
trying
it,
to drive to. All of us need to take
government and all.
responsibility.
Won't they
Yes,
learn from other examples like in Kenya? I mean, it seems like Kenya have an
I agree
abundance
with
of
you.
electricity.
Yeah,
Yes,
because
there's a
this is
tax system. How many people don't pay? And
the government,
government,
the problem in the minds of the people, when they pay money to government, the government will steal it anyway. So they
yes,
might as
that's
well,
that's that's the
which they
mindset
also
behind.
Now
they
now we
also have
can
that
admit
argument.
now we can admit the Nigerian government is corrupt. But when
So
Snake Man says
that's
Nigerian
the
government
my
is corrupt,
no.
Snake Man, what are you talking about? What are you
No,
talking about, Snake Man?
Snake man, that is the mindset of average Nigeria, that the government, if they pay tax, government will steal the money. That the one they are making from oil sales is enough for them to do whatever they want. So that's just the mentality.
But they are also justified to an extent. When you see
Yes,
government officials messing about with their money, that's a problem.
let me tell you, those are who pay tax in Nigeria, the multinationals and some of the big companies. Those are the only
Yeah.
one. And also, they also swing the government also. They find a way to pay little tax.
Yeah, through the back under the table payment.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then they don't get to pay their actual this thing.
You see, are you paying tax? Are you paying
tax?
tax, seriously?
See, if you see the way I sound, you should know that I'm included. There's in this whole conversation, I'm part of the problem also, because I know and I know that.
That's a yes or no question.
You know what UFC judge just now? UFC just he just dragged himself into it. But in reality, you were talking about Nigeria, so you were pointing fingers. Now you have not joined the queue
no.
too.
Including myself. Sorry, I didn't add that at first.
Yes.
Myself. I'm not
Yeah.
going to remove myself from this. I don't also.
At the core of it is that fact that we don't do value-added manufacturing, and most of our resources the profits we make ends up in the West. I see the problem is a high-level problem. It's not. I think we make the mistake of thinking about low-level solutions all the time. Oh, end corruption, do this. Even if you end corruption and most of the money still ends up overseas, it's not going to make that much of this thing, and it's almost unnatural, really, for a society's resources to be ending up overseas, and that society is supposed to be functioning properly. It's not going to function properly. It's like you being starved and you expect to still go into a boxing ring with this Mike Tyson. You're not going to come out.
So Naja, I want to ask you a question. How is Nigeria very good at when it comes to giving electricity to Europe, but at home it's very lacking? You know that Nigeria like makes up 10 or 15% of Europe's electricity. You know, they give them natural gas. It's basically they keep the lights on in Europe basically after Russia invaded.
Storyteller, you are right. Nigeria have a very huge problem with data because we don't know exactly data collection. You are right.
It's really hard.
Is that storyteller?
No, it's not that hard. It's just
sorry, is that storyteller there? Hold on.
It's very hard because like local governments have to collect. It's not if they're not even
hard, it's useless. What is the point in to find out? Oh, most of my people are rural people who are self-sufficient. Well, what does data help me there?
Sorry, hold on now. I need to ascertain something. Storyteller, are you Andre not found?
No. That's not me. Okay, I'm Andre. I'm Andre.
Because the storyteller in the chat tends to be always very antagonistic and all the rest of it. So, yeah, go ahead.
But anyway, gentlemen, it was great.
Old age
it was great this morning, this evening, or this afternoon, wherever time you may be. For those who live in the United States, here's a little wisdom from a realtor. Especially when you have a loved one who dies, get a trust. Don't get a will, get a trust. When you get a will, or if you don't make a will, you're going to have to go through probate court. And that takes a long, drawn out time sometimes.
What is a trust?
A trust is basically in where you could, okay, here's two different things. You have a will where you leave stuff for your descendants. But with a will, you still would have to go to probate, which doesn't make any sense. You have to go to court. However, with a irrevocable trust, as with B.B. Rodriguez says, it get passed on to, let's say you as my son, and I made a trust, as you being a trustee, the trust will automatically go to you without going to probate court.
Okay, so if somebody sets up a trust for somebody and say they set it up for you, and so it goes straight to you.
Correct. Whereas even if you have a will, if you write a will, I mean, you have two different types. You could go to a will with a lawyer, or you could do it the old-fashioned way, what they call a holographic will. You could just write it down. You have to write it down if you do a holographic will, and you have to date it. You can't type it or anything like that. But
Wait, Brian, I got a question. Does a trust get taxed?
good question. Good question. Unless your name is on the deed of the property. But if it's not on the deed of the property, you won't have to pay the capital gain tax.
Man, I find it funny. I find it funny when Brian is talking about none of my words. That it doesn't apply to my word at all. Like literally not.
Yeah. I mean, this is mainly those who live in the United States and maybe Britain or whatnot. I'm not very sure how the way the British system is.
Yeah,
but
the British system allows that. I think you can create a trust.
Right.
So, but how do you set up a trust though?
You have to set that up with an attorney, with a real estate attorney.
Okay, so is this what they refer to as trust fund babies, and is that the kind of trust they are referring to?
No.
Which one is the trust fund baby trust?
I never heard of that trust fund baby trust.
Oh yeah, because I think
Stop lying.
Oh God.
If you look
Did you
at
never watch
like
Michael
Jackson,
stop it, man.
Michael Jackson set up a trust fund for his kids. So that's
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. That's what they mean by trust fund babies. That's what they call all those people that are
okay.
They've got trust fund babies.
But my thing is, because I'm going to court right now. I mean, getting ready to go to LA Superior Court as we talking around 9 o'clock. Dealing with issues, family, fighting, infighting. A lot of infighting as far as getting the property, and unfortunately, in a high middle class area in LA, in Baldwin Hills, whole lot of drama, unnecessary drama.
That's what happens now when resources are at stake. People go to war for these things. So, so to set up the trust, you set it up with a lawyer. Then you can say, okay, this person gets the money. Is that how it works?
Pretty much, it'll not just the money, but
no. I'm not a trust fund baby, Caesar. My uncle stole all my inheritance for my father. Because my father was loyal.
Yeah, but Snake Man, you want to be a trust fund baby because
who asked you anyway?
Generational wealth,
Generational wealth is so important, but you don't.
Yeah, it's still in the family. It's just not with us. It's also branch.
Right. So get a trust, y'all. Set up something with an attorney, even though it might cost you a little bit as far as getting a state lawyer or whatnot. It's well worth it.
Yeah.
So the advantage of having a trust is that it is immune.
Yeah, but 1 second tonight, let me just shout out to today's sponsors again. These Dusties out here keeping this stream over here and operational. Shout out to Spellcaster with a voodoo $5 Canadian. Kaizo, I am a real Niger living in Toronto, Canada. Not anyone troll account or anything. Keep it real. Take this delicious Canadian. Yeah, shout out. This donation is sending my girlfriend to their hair salon to get her hair did. So shout out to you. We appreciate it.
Hair? You mean that wig?
No. His girlfriend is gonna get Kaiser. Your girlfriend is gonna get a Gillette hair, right?
That's true, BB and Rodriguez.
Yeah. Shout out. In fact, she says thank you. Did you hear her, Spellcaster? Right. So shout out to you. Also shout out to Brian over there with a $10 super chat, man. This guy is out here giving me his Black American money, man. He's giving money back for us Wanga selling him. Here you go, Dusty Kaizoria. And he's outlandish.
Superior $10. Let's go.
Yeah, well, hey, look. I don't look down on Canadian dollar, right? I know American dollar is a little bit higher, but you know what? I appreciate the support, man. I don't have that evil spirit that some other people do. Even if you send me 50 cents, I'll go take that 50 cents, buy me a nice fat cigarette, man, and then give it to someone to smoke. But yeah, shout out to you guys for sponsoring.
Tells out to gassing up.
And I'm also looking up a property that's in another.
Wait, Sarah. Wait.
Oh, go ahead, Queso.
What did you do, Sarah?
What is he doing?
Wait, Brian, can I ask you something?
Yeah, go ahead.
When you do a purchase, do you have to confirm it with your bank?
What are you talking about as far as real estate?
Like, yeah, in US.
Well, how the way it works, it really depends. Are you talking about like a total? If you're a cash purchase, like you're going to be paying it all straight out, which is very, very expensive. I know there's a lot of Arabians do that, like a lot of Saudis. They don't like financing. They just straight out, the rich ones, I mean, buy the house and then, pay the taxes later. But no, how the way it works, most people usually get a loan from the bank. First you have to be pre-qualified. It depends on how much you make, your income. your debt to income ratio, how much your debts and stuff like that. Then the bank will pretty much decide, okay, how much I should give them a loan. Let's say, the average home in LA is $800,000, 1.2 million for the average house in a decent area. I have so many different clients who only got a $700,000 loan. Actually, I have an Ethiopian client, and I told him, I said, you can't live in LA. Even though you might have your job in LA, he works at a medical research center. Only place you could be able to afford a house with the loan that you got from the bank is, let's say, in Victorville, which is about 50 miles away, or Rancho Cucamonga, which is another 60 miles away, pretty much in the desert. But those homes are affordable. But a lot of people don't want to live in those areas due to the traffic that we have here in LA. A lot of people I notice are sitting it out. They waiting for things to go down. Interest rates are pretty much high. I think interest rates, when I last looked at it, it's going down a little bit, but it's about 7.1. If you factor in the rent and all that you might be paying like over $4,000 a month.
Yeah,
So
California might pay you good, but housing is.
So a lot of people don't, and a lot of people want to sell too, but they say they're not going to sell. Like saying, they say, why should I switch from having 2% or 3% interest rate and I'm paying 7%? That don't make no sense. Economically, that don't make no sense. So many people who I know specifically are sitting it out, only except for investors. Investors, they just go for the deal. And half of my clients are investors.
Yeah, I was thinking about, like, I know someone that bought a car, but they took a loan. I don't know if that's smart.
I mean, that's pretty much normal. I mean, most people get their stuff financed in the United States.
Yeah, can I just go back to this trust this thing, because I really want to understand it properly. So they did say that it's to protect for assets, but what I noticed was that they said when you put something in a trust, a different entity goes and start managing that trust, the resources within the trust. So how does that work? Does the trust like, can you lose the funds in the trust itself? Let's say somebody signs all their estate to a trust, and then this trust is running, which basically is a group of private individuals running this company for the.
No, I mean, are you talking about as far as real estate, as far as transferring properties, or?
I think from what they described as trust here, he said something about
look at trust and look up transferring properties versus a will, because you're talking about something totally different.
Okay, so but they described some of the stuff you said yourself. They said when they asked why create a trust, they said to control and protect family assets, possibly
correct.
The number one motive. You see, so it's similar to what you are saying, but what they also add is that because the settlers, as they call them, it's like the people that are the people that you put as the beneficiaries of the trust. I don't even know what they're part. I'm just trying to read it, but I just want you to give me an idea. What is it? Because it appears like if somebody hands all their assets to them, they go and run it.
I could tell you things from a California point of view. I mean, because every state handles the trust very, very differently. I don't know why we do this in this country, but handle things very, very differently. Whereas in California, we might do certain things. Whereas in South Carolina, it might be totally different. Even how the way we might handle real estate in different states might be different. Like, for example, in places like New York, okay, if you default in your loan, okay, then the bank or what have you that you borrowed money from, they could sue you, but they have to go to court, and then the judge will decide whether as far as let's say if it's the real estate, the lender was suing you too, Niger. The judge might decide, well, the case might take so long, and the judge might say, well, give him about a year, and then we'll come back next year and see what happens. Whereas in California, I'm not saying it's a lot easier to take people's property. However, we don't live in a mortgage state in California. We live in a trust deed state where you're not just dealing with two parties, you're dealing with three parties. Where you're dealing with the trustor, which is the owner, the trustee, which is a third supposedly non-entity who's not involved in all this. And then you have the beneficiary, which we considered as the lender. And let's say you defaulted in your loan in California, the lender will go to the trustee, and then the trustee will send you all these threatening notices until you don't pay your notice within about 4 months or whatnot. Then they will decide to put your house on auction. They auction off your house, and then you have the sheriff come there, lock your door until you get all your property out, and then you have a new owner. That's how it works in California.
I see. So yeah, I'm quite interested in this trust business because I tend to hear it when people that have a lot of money, you know, with a lot of wealth.
But tonight, are you sure you want to understand it? Because you usually give alternative facts when I talk about business and investing. So, like an example is this, right?
You don't have to knock me before you make your point. It's all good.
But if you look at, I think I've done videos on trust and bonds and all those things, government bonds and everything, right? And what I think I realize is nobody watches those videos, right? Africans don't want to know about investment, trust, or bonds or anything like that. That was a huge thing that I realized. So I stopped making any videos on like money and economics. That people just don't watch them. They rather watch other videos.
I think.
So it's not that. It's not that. It's the problem is you make videos for at least middle class people. You must make video for dusty people, for poor people.
I see. No. I think I disagree with that. I think
hold on one second. How much was Holmes was worth in that?
Why is everybody interrupting me? Come on, stop it.
No. I just want to answer Mrs. H's question. It was cheaper back then. You know.
Okay.
It was cheaper. Like probably like 400,000, 400,000, 500,000 around that area. But go ahead, 200.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I think there's nothing wrong with doing it this occasion, and I too will be doing it actually. I think you have to sprinkle it, you know, around. It's not something you do, you know, back to back. You do it maybe once a week, once in 2 weeks, maybe even once a month.
But Niger, like, think of it. How much research do you think goes into making one of these more like technically complex videos? It takes me at least 2 hours for prep. So imagine I make a video for 2 hours preparation and I get 30 views. That's the issue, right? Only 30 dusty Africans even thought to click on the video.
No, because what is happening is that you are building a base. What I find is that you created your own base, this dusty base, as you like to call it. You created it, so you are creating a base for yourself, and that's what I find. Like if you create a certain type of video, you'll be surprised. Almost any random video you create, you create a base for it. So you see what I mean? And I think you are enriching your listeners by, you know, sprinkling it here and there. Because if you had talked about it like the way you know, just Grits did just now, I would listen because I think it's useful for people to know. People need to know about smart stuff too, not only dusty stuff. So
yeah, I just want to prevent people from going through drama like I'm seeing right now. Just so much drama, so much chaos, so much stupidity, so much of everything.
But Brian, how are you doing anyways, like health-wise?
I'm going.
Okay, that's good. Don't worry. We won't ask more questions because I'm sure they're annoying. Unless you want to tell people, but yeah.
Now, you know, I have my own little Facebook group. We talk.
Okay.
Well, seriously, I didn't know that something was up, you know. I just thought you just went like gas them up.
White man got him.
Whatever it is, you know, we are always on your side. And whatever you need us to do, we can always rally.
Nigel, you never sent even $1. What the hell can you do?
you know, why do you have to always do this? You have to embarrass me publicly all the time. See.
Yo, Kaiser, me too. I never send out $1 as well.
I will put my money where my mouth is on this one.
Yeah, but Andre, how old are you? You're like 12, right?
No. But Kaiser, let me answer. I can send a $1, but you know, I have to go through my bank, and I hate that.
It's okay, bro. You're young, so we don't hold young people against it. Niger is a grown man.
No, but I can for sure send a $1.
No, you don't need to. You're a young man, Andre, right? Niger is a fully grown man with potential kids.
Wait,
in his
tonight
loins.
you're actually.
Oh my God! See, I think I can give like what I'm saying right now. When I say it, I will do it, and so because he is like basically
Caesar, I'm 19.
yeah. Oh,
Mrs.
19.
H,
Oh,
I made a
so am
whole
I.
video
If you're
on
19,
how
that's
what a
good.
bond is. Mrs. H, I did a whole video on what a bond is, how to get yourself into it, which systems to use. Nobody watched the video. I think I got
Nah,
20 views.
Kaiser, no way you did a show on that.
No, it wasn't a show. It was one of my like Kaiser only whatever high IQ videos.
Okay. Yeah.
Kaiser
Okay.
did. He's actually an economist, but he stopped doing it. He stopped doing it because he realized no one's listening to him.
Yep.
Yeah, you have to watch out for the audience. Anyway.
Kaiser, that
It's
shows that black people
like,
don't care. You know,
hold
you
on.
gotta be entertaining.
Hold on.
Well, that's
I
the
think
thing,
it
man.
depends
Yeah.
on who is on the panel. If you have like people that can engage at that level, like one man went to more
like Hammer and Judah and Ark and Fire.
Yeah, you don't want
I
people
can fire
that
it's too low IQ, man.
no, definitely not. I can fire. You don't want to bring that kind of topic where it's there. That's not his lookout. And or Jude, you don't bother with that.
Okay, so let me prove it because you Dusties don't believe me, right? Let me show you the last video I made with Ike, right? Okay, it wasn't a video; it was more like a re-upload. I only got 60 views for it, but one where it says "brick in the face," I'm getting 200 views. You see what I mean by the Africans, right?
No, but I think it's a human thing now. But
I think it's a human thing. I think people like drama, bro.
That 60 that you have are quality 60.
No, it was a good high IQ video, though. I'm not gonna lie.
So I think it matters.
Yeah, but
tonight AI and artificial intelligence. I remember that.
When it comes to education,
oh yeah, you saw that video, didn't you, Brian?
Yeah. Kezo, it seems like Jude is still angry with you.
Look, Jude is a crybaby. He'll come back when we want. Right?
What could you have done to Jude to annoy Jude so badly?
Someone paid to get rid of Jude from the screen just for like a day. I mean, I had 30 minutes and he cried. He
oh my God.
And
he'll come back when his time is right.
And Kezo did it and put him on 30 minutes ban.
Now, but guys, you must understand. I think it's not only that it's about economy and you are too high IQ. They're saying it's Ike. None of those dusty Africans always hating want to see a rich albino. Who the fuck want to see that shit?
100%. Also, shut up. Look at the videos that get views, right? Racist, Africans, look at this, Major. Africans versus blacks. Did slavery make... See, this is the videos that get views. Africans versus black. Did slavery make blacks not succeed? Are they welcome home? Why Africans run? Pan-Africanism, Pan-Judaism, Horners, Northerners, Eastern Southerners. Or dust. Black Americans versus African Somalis. You see, they only want to see the dusty stuff. It is what it is. That's the people.
It's a sickening thing.
Wait,
I wouldn't call it sickening. It's just human.
Popular video, all like from East, like talking about East Africa. Top 10 popular videos.
The most popular videos is if I engage Black Americans, East Africans, and who else? And like Jerez. That's it. So I gotta.
Why you use that word? Though? Why is it popular? No one
why, right? Most of my subscribers are either Black American, 20%, Africans are under 60%, then Somalis are like 20%. So if we want to get the most views, you have to include something that you have to mention FBA, Somalis, and
I mean, you don't mention any other groups. What any other groups watch the shows? You know,
nobody watches my other show apart from those groups. Yeah,
Latin Americans,
not really.
whatever.
It's just Black Americans,
I would
Nigerians, and Somalis.
I want to be mixing it up too because I don't think I think there is benefit. I don't look at it from the point of view that it's just about views. It's also about enriching your own viewers.
True.
And they also benefit from it because like me coming here now, hearing about trust, I didn't just come here to discuss only haplogroups or light. I just gained something extra. You see what I mean?
Yeah, but that's because I run my channel with a bit more like an open, free market capitalism. So many different ideas come together. I like the chaos. The chaos allows us to actually get to some deeper topics. Like if it was more like a simple.
Do you think it's deliberate chaos or you just are terrible at managing people?
No. It's deliberate chaos. I'm an ENTP, right?
Okay.
Me and Abby have the same personality type. If you
What
look
do
at what
you
it is,
mean better managing pupils? That's why he has one man. That's why
Guys,
one
I
man
agree
is
with
there.
you. Chaos is actually fun. Chaos, what people love. You know, people don't want to be shut down.
Yeah, I get that, but you can, I don't know. I guess he just he worked, and there was no other person doing it like this. I think the closest that came to this was African Millennial, but Kezo took
Yeah.
it another notch. I think he was probably competing with African Millennial and got it out of control. But it turns out to be something quite interesting. That said, he did
What
put in
happened
the
to African
hours.
millennial?
He
I
did put
haven't
in the
heard
hours.
anything.
So let me add this. Kezo did put in the hours, a lot of hours to get
True.
here. He didn't get here just from charity alone. It's a lot of work to do this stuff.
yeah,
I
that's true.
know
There's
what
a
it
lot of
feels
work.
like.
There's a lot of research I have to do to make sure that I don't have too much misinformation on each of the topics. There's some topics I run to, like Somalis or Black Americans. I don't have to do research. I've already done enough. So I use those topics when I don't want to do my work, right? Like I have to do
Wait,
2 hours preparation.
Kaizo, Africans, the only place that they can find free speech is this place. Africans in their own countries, they can't speak. You know, they're shut down, man. I'm telling you, this is the only African free speech place.
Yeah, so hang on now. So Tanaja, this is my personality. It's the same as Abby's actually. It's called ENTP. It's called the debater, devil's advocate type, right? So this is my personality. So for example, it says people describe as innovative, obviously clever and expressive. I don't really care about all that stuff. That innovative, visionary, all that stuff. Here's the characteristics, right? With a they enjoy interacting with a wide variety of people. They are great conversationalists and love to engage with other people in debates. They're most focused on the future rather than immediate details, right? I'll give you an example, right? You Africans on the chat, usually, let's say, when something isn't going right for one hour, you guys get thinking it's now about you start projecting real time into transtemporal, and it's not that case. Tonight is actually good at transtemporal. I'm quite surprised, to be honest. He actually sees beyond time.
Wow, am I supposed to find out the compliment?
It is a compliment.
You are surprised.
Most Africans,
what is that all about?
Even
your compliment comes across as insults. What is wrong with you?
It is an insult. It was an indirect insult.
No, it is insult because, like, Kaizo is surprised by you having that trait.
Wow.
No, but Tanaja, like only a few people have it. Like even Mrs. H was and Duff is the worst one, by the way, Tanaja. Duff is not an ENTJ like he thinks. He's an ESTJ. He can't see beyond time. The guy was out here telling me some nonsense about panelists yesterday. I'm like, bro, have you just seen how much views I've been getting, how much money I've been getting? The guy looking at real time right now and forgets even 20 minutes ago. It's like a goldfish. So Tanaja, that is not an African trait. It must be mixed with something that's non-African.
I don't know. I think that the way he thinks is that he's quite. I don't know whether I agree that he's
in real time.
Not,
he can't think.
He can think ahead. That can ask you leading questions to where he wants you to get to. So
yes, but he can't build models. I don't know. I think Snake Man, you know what I mean, right? That doesn't build models. He doesn't like build understandings and then layer it. He's stuck on the real time or forward projections, but he can't build a model. Like for example, when Snake Man talks, Snake Man is talking about the past, present, and future, and he's even projecting certain times in the future.
Snake Man.
This Igbo guy over here on the panel.
Basically saying I know history. So it's the opposite of you tonight.
Oh my God! I don't like. I think most of these traits are often isolated to specific certain activities.
Oh yeah, Mrs. H. Let me send you the link to do the test. You can find out. This by the way, this is not bullshit. This whole personality type. The one from
she wants you to send her a link on investing in bonds as well too.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'll send her both videos. But basically, this is how me and Ike use to evaluate people if you're going to employ them. It works. We've never had issue with employees.
Kaizo, you and Ike, do you guys have same personality?
No. Ike is what we call an INTJ. He's an introverted thinker for practical means. I'm more of a logical thinker. Ike is a practical thinker. That's why he gets pissed off with Africans when they're not bringing solutions. For me, I'm willing to engage. Me and Tanaja, we're both logical thinkers. We're not so practical.
You like to entertain that, but he's like, nah, I can't.
No, I could not entertain things unless there's money or real shit title.
Real
He's
tangible
a
stuff. Real tangible stuff. I understand.
yeah, exactly. Me, Brian, Tanaja, we're all logical thinkers. We're
Yeah,
not.
I guess a
practical.
person I can see Nigeria that we execute the entire family because we didn't pay.
Yeah, of course. Right. He's an original slave trader from the Benin Kingdom. 100%. You're right. He's very practical. Very.
No. He will never associate himself with it. But if you look for the money and follow the money, at some point it will come back to him.
Yeah, of course.
Yo, Kaz, I think you got the nerdy personality, you know, like debate, bro. Yeah,
think
that's
of it
kind of.
this way, Andre. Remember when I first came to Black YouTube? Before I was in the white YouTube space. That's why you see a lot of white people here. These are my original followers. Before I deleted my videos and rebranded. When I first came to Black YouTube, I went through. There was Happy Companion, I believe, that little guy from Gambia. Oh, he's a Black American, but he's in Gambia.
You need to stop with your nonsense,
No, pleasure. People like my crazy little jokes, right? I remember when I first came Black YouTube, African Millennial was on the panel, and this is before me and her became, friends and stuff. She and all her followers thought I was arrogant, my accent, the way I talked, how I came, people with logic, and disregarded everyone's argument. Nobody liked me. So when I changed and became
British, I think you were British.
I'm very British, but not just that.
Yeah, but if you have a British accent, you like asserting dominance, and you kind of sound angry. Like you kind of
Andre. Yeah, no, you're right, Andre. 100%.
I know. Africans view it, like you have the authority of them, Okay, so
yep, that's what they hated. They hated that I was so self-sure about everything I said, which I was, right? I studied it. But here's the thing: I noticed.
You know what had me against you in the beginning, okay? So see,
I knew it, right? Even Brian was against you. Go ahead, brother.
It was that whole low IQ thing. I was like, oh my god! I said,
oh no, you're also
black person was saying this.
Oh yeah. That is something, Castro. Black Americans don't like when you use the word low IQ.
I see. It reminds them of the white man. Sorry, guy. I'm sorry I traumatized
you. No. The IQ thing came from the German. Shout out to them, okay?
Yeah, but
I think the context he was using, that's what I found problematic myself. But in terms of saying, okay, we are not operating
at the highest level that we can.
Yeah, that is quite accurate.
Now, but Tanaja, people only listen to me because I'm polarizing and also free speech. So if, let's say, I'm out here, like I tried it before, Tanaja. I used to make very high IQ, very dense videos on African topics. It didn't work. When I did it on the white space, it worked, but on African space, it didn't. So I had to change and had a little bit more entertainment or edutainment, as you guys call it.
Yeah, but so Kaiser, when Africans if you have a British accent, like people automatically, in African society will view you as a high class, superior, just intelligent, and people
are you not talking about Kenya? It's a ballless society.
Yeah. Kenya, if you have a British accent, you probably
in Kenya. Literally, I've never told Kenyans I have a PhD. If I told them that, do you know how much doors they'll be opening to me? They'll be like, "Oh, sir, this," or "Big man, this." Like, I just roll as a dusty in here. In fact, I dress like a homeless man most of the times, but they still see some richness in me, right? Because I don't want to be, disturbed on the street. Like, "Oh, hey, big man, give me 50 bob." 50 bob is like 50 cents. I'm not giving you anything, right? I'll give you a job, but I know you won't do it. So, let's just stop there. Like, I do not believe in handing out money to dusties. I give them jobs if they can do it. If they can't, I get rid of them. Like, that's something I learned from Ike.
Kaiser, who give people money, like pennies? They're usually the Muslims and the Christians because of their religious value. But the atheists, they're like, "Hey, man, you got hands, feet. Like, I give you a job, or just give up, give up standing in the street and actually stand on your."
Yeah. So H Block is actually more or less married these days. That's all I'm gonna say. And he's got a new job, working for the white man, more pay, etc. In case you're wondering, the anime answer over there. And Brian, I do appreciate you. I appreciate the panelists, and I also appreciate the donators. Right, both the panelists and donators help us keep working every day. Like, there was a time when I was actually working for free on YouTube because I was probably depressed. Right, for some reason, I'm not going to tell you why. You probably can do the math. At that time, it was okay, but right now, obviously, my life is going well. I'm making good money in my other business. So if I'm going to do YouTube, I have to at least make my $10 a day, right, at the minimum, for it to make this worth it, right? I have to be at least on the African minimum poverty standard. Otherwise,
no way, because you want to keep yourself in the system.
Bro, I only make $10 a day. That's $300 a month.
Guys, why do you want to make
viewers,
the Kenyan average though? Like,
hold on
nah,
now. Your
crazy.
viewers, this is of more than £10 a day, just if you stream anyway.
Come on, tonight. Let's not start pocket watching.
Okay, let's not.
I only make
that's why
$300
you
a month.
are the one that brought it up now. You are the one.
I only make $300 a month, and shout out to the donators who help this make possible. That $300 can pay for my rent and my food, and then sometimes when I get extra, I can trick on my woman. That's it. I'm a humble guy.
Kaiser, let me ask you a question. Do you think autistic people have like some kind of superiority when it comes to like developing something? Like
I am on the autism spectrum, and yes, I am superior.
Yeah, like you guys can make your things like very different. Like how you guys view stuff is really different from the average person. I just it's kind of insane, man.
It's interesting enough.
You kind of have an advantage. You see things different, colors, everything.
I guess I don't know. I can't say. I probably am an autistic person too. Everybody belongs with his.
You're the most autistic person.
Oh God! Why did I go there? Why did I go there?
No. Remember tonight I was out here trying to
reason. You're a little bit autistic. Yeah, we can all agree on that.
Hold on. Nilo is here. Nilo, how dare you talking about our good old rigs and churches over here? What are you talking about? Since Rigs has more histories than the entire Ethiopian country. What are you talking about? And they're stylish. Okay, continue.
Yeah. Tunaja, yeah, I think you're autistic, but it's a positive thing because if you look at it, like people say that autism comes with like 10% boost of IQ,
Yeah,
that is.
And also, Tunaja, if you do stream, just stream on my channel too, so I can make my white man money from the ads. So just link my channel to it as well. If you're streaming,
how does that even work? You
have access to my channel here, Tunaja, if you use streaming.
This is your channel.
Yes, you have access to my channel as well, Tunaja. Just click on my face.
Why you don't just make a mixture of Fresh and Fit and O'Shea?
I'll tell you why, right? If I go to O'Shea, right, I can easily get an interview with him if I use Ike. The problem is I have to show my face. I'll do that when I'm ready. I'm not ready to do that yet. That's the issue, right? If I want to grow, I know exactly what to do.
You trying to get an interview with O'Shea?
Yeah, obviously I can easily get.
No, he can because he knows Ike. Because Ike and O'Shea is pretty close.
Yeah. So any of those people from Manosphere, I can get interviews with them. So I just have to be willing to show my face, more or less.
But
Abby, it makes sense. It makes sense. Don't say that out loud, Abby. Though don't say it out loud. But yeah, that explains everything.
The problem I have with O'Shea is that sometimes you bring people on whereby they spread fake news and it just not said along. So it's crazy.
The thing with O'Shea is something we call an ENTJ. He's supposed to be actually a very practical, very high IQ guy, and he is technically. He's left America, couldn't get a nursing job, went to Poland, got himself a medical degree, went to Africa, realized he could build an empire in Uganda.
Man, my lord, fuck you. That's out.
No, don't say that out loud, Abby. Don't mention that out loud. Just leave it there, right? But yeah, so O'Shea is a great mover. He's someone I respect. He's like the extroverted version of Ike. The only thing is, right, O'Shea misses sometimes. He refuses to learn about African culture and keeps projecting Black American issues. Like he keeps saying like, oh, African problems because they're mixing with foreigners. Bro, that is the least of our problem. Yeah. He makes videos on that.
I agree with you that you're more educated on Africa than him.
Yeah.
Sure.
Of course, I'm African, right?
Is it? I gotta ask you a question. Is it like the arrogance? It's like he's from a superior culture that he won't learn African norms and stuff.
He's not ready to learn at all.
Yeah, because he's like American. Yeah,
but O'Shea. Okay, let me just do some psychoanalysis, right? O'Shea had a brother, or has a brother who's half Igbo. Right, the dad was obviously in his family, right, and obviously O'Shea's real dad is not in the picture, right? He's Black American. So one of the issues is he hates Nigerians because they're arrogant, and I think it's coming from his family situation.
Oh, really?
I
I mean,
I
he never
That's
discussed
the
that.
reason why he picked Uganda instead of Nigeria.
Uganda makes sense. Okay, I'll tell you this, right? East Africa is easier, and Uganda, you can pay people much less. Like Ugandan shilling is trash, so you can pay them less. The reason, what do you think he didn't set shop in Kenya? Kenyans, okay, look, same reason
But
why
let me
me and
explain.
Ike's
The
business
reason
is.
why he didn't set anything in Nigeria, most of the things he say online, won't say it in Nigeria. They will shut
Also, he
him
hates
down straight.
Nigerians, right? He also does not like Nigerians. He said it many times. But one
So
of the reasons why
why he don't like Nigerians? I mean, that don't make sense. Since I
personally, I think it's because his brother's dad was in his life and his dad wasn't, and he thinks Nigerians are arrogant, and it's true. But I like Nigerians because they are arrogant, right? Like the other day, you saw that the South Africans versus Nigerians. Nigerians was out here hitting $400 on Kaizo, and one man. South Africans have never donated even to African millennial. There's just a difference between the Nigerians. They're just kind of a special breed of superior Africans. It is what it is.
I'm not saying all that. I'm not gonna say all that, but
Same with Black
my
Americans. You guys
counter
are
Nigerian's been very, very neutral. You know, it's not the here or there. Actually, one of my aunts married to a Nigerian, so it's.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I don't see any arrogance about them, just being people, really.
That's the issue. So, Brian, if you, for example, South Africans really hate Nigerians, right? One reason why is this: a Nigerian. Okay, let me give you context, right? Okay, a Nigerian hit on one of my Somali women. Like this is before I found my current girlfriend, right? She's not here, so I can talk about it. The girl just came over. The Nigerian was already speaking to her, telling her to come to his house. Nigerians will go and be very irreverent. They won't care if someone's got a girlfriend. Nigerians will just live their best life. So everybody else feels like they don't care about the culture. They're not holding back. They will just go and get what they want. So that's why people call them arrogant. Now I respect them because I'm like, yo, they get what they want. And as a man, I respect people that move. That is what it is, right? I'm never gonna come against people that do what they want.
Yeah, but listen, Kaiser, how can you call someone high IQ if they're just gonna hate all the Nigerians because of their family background, or they had a bad experience?
Good question. Andre, great question. IQ is not related to wisdom at all. IQ is just your operational ability when everything else, all the emotional
yeah, but what I'm saying is like, can you not find a solution or like think?
You're talking about wisdom.
Yeah,
you're talking about wisdom. IQ is just a simple operational thing. Can he think at the highest level when all the emotional markers are removed? AKA, if he's just given numbers, can he crunch them? That's what IQ is. What you're talking about, Andre, is wisdom. Wisdom, most people don't have it. Very few people have wisdom, right? Wisdom is separate. I think people mix wisdom and IQ all the time.
Is it? Okay. I think you're right.
You're right.
I definitely agree. I definitely agree that he doesn't have wisdom if he's gonna just do that.
Yeah, no, Abby, look, I agree with it. That's why I said don't talk about it, right? She doesn't. The person doesn't have the intuition. They can't project across time lines. They're very sensory. They're focusing on the real time, and also very emotionally led, projecting certain. You get the point, right? So, but yeah, just don't mention it out loud. But yes, I agree with it. That's why I said don't mention it. Wisdom. Look, storyteller. IQ is just your ability to crunch numbers. My IQ is not even that high, right? It's only 143. I'm only a genius in IQ standards, right?
Wait, 143 in Africa? It's not high. Are you?
No. My IQ was in UK. If I never left Kenya, it'll probably be 25. I'll be out here the same.
Yeah. Kaiser, if you left the Kenyan environment and put you in Europe, you probably would be 10% boost.
Right, but the point I'm trying to make is my IQ is not the best part of me, right? The best part of me is actually my creativity and my wisdom. That's it.
And your character, definitely your character,
right?
And
exactly.
how you've your views, and definitely, yeah.
Damn, Shaboing, bro, hop off his nuts. This guy's dick sucking, bro.
Yeah,
no. Wait, we're just having a conversation about O'Shea, and.
Nilo, chill. That is the Swedish kind of thing.
Wait, let me ask him a question, Kaiser. I think you guys would have a hard time having a conversation with O'Shea because, like, you don't entertain the dusty part of what he talks about. Africans
would obviously be intimidated by my IQ if I had a conversation with him. That's the reality. He knows who I am. He refuses to engage me in certain ways, right? So he knows, obviously, right? This is the most high IQ Afrosphere channel, obviously, by far. right? Every other channel is not this high IQ, right? Unless you guys can tell me one other Afrosphere channel that's high IQ.
Let's see, Earn Edge at Leisure.
No, that's black. That's Black Sphere. That's not Afrosphere.
Oh, you don't consider it Afrosphere since it attracts people from different African or let's say African descendant backgrounds.
No, it's about the topics. It's about
usually it's about money, right?
Wait, who's the guy?
Afrodamus doesn't count.
Channel was over a million views.
Spellcaster. Afrodamus doesn't count. His channel is about
propaganda. Brian, what does the guy do?
No. Earn Your Leisure is a group of 3 guys, and you know what? I'll put it on the chat, and you can take a look at it. It's pretty good. I mean, if you're into like economics, if you're into,
it's a good show. I like it actually. I watch it.
But I don't like the Hotep stuff. You know,
but you know, sometimes they
can't take you. Come on, bro, defend yourself, bro. How can a Hotep be higher IQ, man? Stop.
No.
But just drop the link.
I'm looking at it from as far as business, economics.
They do bring some good, useful conversations in, right?
Like, they talk about as far as what's going on with AI or, you know, everyday life stuff. You know,
I know. Actually, I know a channel that's higher IQ than my Ike's channel, right? But there is one Ike's channel. I'll say.
I'll Nilotic Junta, I'll just put it on the link for you, and then you can take a look at it. They're pretty good.
Wait, Kaiser, you know O'Shea got a show with the Afridamas. Why not you? Why not you though?
Because I'm not willing to go on video yet. That's why.
Damn, bro. Do you think you could though? Do you think he will I
will
want you, or you guys have a beef?
No. Look.
Yo, O'Shea is too emotional for that type of stuff, bro. Every time I see O'Shea, he's crying about something that happened or something people said on social media or something. This nigga is great, borderline 40, and he's still social media obsessed, man.
Yeah, but you know, he makes money, so I always.
Brian, when did you drop the link, bro?
Oh, here it is, bro. Got it?
You see it? Hang on. Kaiser, you are truly deliberately delusional. Of you think you're against
hold on.
OBJ.
Nilola Kunta, do you see it?
Yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Wait, Kaiser. By any chance, are you a narcissist? I just want to know.
No. I am part of the dark triad, meaning that, you know, there's psychopathy, narcissism, and
he is, but he's smart enough to know that he is not capable. Like when you fail as much as Kaiser, at some point you must accept that you're not.
Sure enough, that's my perspective.
Kaiser, for me, you come out as a narcissist. Like you and Abby, like you guys love you guys.
No, we are. That's part of it. That's not all of it. That's part of it. Not all of it, though. Look, let me tell you this, Andre. Right? When you're superior, let me. I will never compete with a world-class model. Never. Why? Because they're superior to my looks. That's a fact. Now, a model will never compete with my superior IQ. That's a fact, right? I stick to my lane. Abby sticks to many different lanes, right? He sticks to Khoisan's, he sticks to IQ, he sticks to everything, right? But the point is, you got to understand. Someone says stop the cap, Kaiser. Listen, why would I stop the cap? Right? Why?
Wait, Kaiser's gonna marry into a high IQ tribe in Kenya.
Look, Andre, you know what it means to stick to your lane? When you guys talk about haplogroups and all this other stuff, do you see me ever joining and acting like I know what I'm talking about?
Not really, yeah.
No.
Exactly. So I stick to my lane.
Yeah, it's the same
thing.
That's
what it means to stick to your lane.
Yeah, it's the same thing when Kaiser talks about American issues. I don't really go into it.
Yeah, but Naila, if a topic is like this, this is just too below for me, you know, like I'm not gonna call in for this. Yeah, I think like Naila is like that sometimes.
No, but I just mean haplogroups are not like below me. It's just I don't know that much about haplogroups and the genetics and all that stuff, especially African genetics and stuff like that. So I don't care. Like, I'm just gonna listen to what people have to say. If I have to say something, I'm just gonna ask a question and that's it. I'm not going to come here and argue like I know something. Like some people on this channel do. They would know zero about something and they'll come in with their hardcore opinions, acting like they know stuff. And that shit annoys me, to be honest.
No, man. For me, if we're talking about finances, I will probably listen to successful people, like people that are experienced.
Wait. Hang on. Wait. Mashallah. What about a car too? All that shit, man. Brother Polite just uploaded a video saying, Brother Polite speaks about the sex charges being dropped. what the hell is going on here, man? This nigga just got 7-year sentence and he's talking about his charges being dropped. That is the official challenge. Okay, shut up. I'm gonna have to make a separate video about that. Okay, this nigga paid off the family. Interesting, man. Okay, we'll see.
He did, or he just
his official channel right now. This I am Brother Polite. He just uploaded a video an hour ago. Brother Polite speaks about the sex charges being dropped. Shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he was sentenced to 7 years and
7 years in prison and 10 years.
What's the personality type you gave? You see the personality type you gave to O'Shea. Wouldn't it apply to Brother Polite? That's the guy with the 4 wives, right?
Yeah, they have the same personality type. Yep, ENTJ. Slightly high IQ, very practical. Yeah, exactly. Yep, same personality type. The superior personality type is mine and yours, Abby. ENTP, the debater, innovator, the devil's advocate. Ike's one is almost there, but he's too introverted. He doesn't care about
but Kaizo, I love debates. I love hearing debates, but like if you lose debates, that's like
you're also an intuitive, right? So obviously you're part of the superior class of personality types. Snake Man is also intuitive. To Niger, I'm not too sure. I think he's a sensor, but he's a smart sensor.
Why are you glazing? Why are you glazing, Kaiser? What happened?
No, he's a smart sensor, right? So he almost counts. INFJ, obviously, you guys are intuitive. You guys are rare, like only less than 1%. Obviously, high IQ, just emotional a little bit. Yeah, Caesar, he's like an ENFP, right? He's high IQ, but very emotional. So he keeps putting emotions in all his arguments.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right on Caesar. Like, that's crazy. That's actually true, though.
Yeah, but the best type is ENTP. We are the best type, devil's advocate.
Ryan, I watched some of the videos and live streams that men were doing. No, it's American. It's American.
Which one are you talking about?
There's a link you sent into
I wouldn't say. I mean, business don't have no border. You know what I mean?
You think the last comment?
No, don't say it. Yes, I saw.
If you you must understand this. When Tyson talks about business, you must actually listen when Africans talk about business in Africa. It's a whole nother energy. Literally, it's a whole
a lot of people invest in the American stock market. That's facts. A lot of people invest in, as far as mortgage-backed.
No, but Abby, hang on. I do actually. That video I made, I said, listen, if you're an African, don't invest in your dusty African countries' bonds unless they're in dollars. Because African countries' money literally goes to shit. You give the government your money, and that money doesn't multiply. It gets reduced. So unless you send your money,
a lot of rich Africans, especially the president of Gabon. Make this one point. A lot of rich Africans, especially the president of Gabon, guess where they invested in the real estate at?
Of course, we know why.
Now it's scooped.
Say what?
I'm just saying.
Now he's scooped. He's scooped. Basically, he's in prison.
Right. What I'm saying is, people who have substance and have money, they know where they're going to put their money at.
Yeah, but Brian, that's to hide the money, bro. That's what we. Okay, imagine if he invested in Gabon. Now he's getting cool. They're going to take his houses too.
That's all he did. Wait, all he did is just come on a clothes, man. This nigga got 7 years for that shit. That's insane, man. That is insane.
No, Brian, but that's like saying, why do people invest in London real estate? It's not really the real estate. They don't even live there. It's a way of hiding your money.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about living there. I'm just talking about making money. People make money where your money goes. I mean,
but that is something different. Once again, that is what I understand. Nyla tried to say. They are not really living there. They just want their money somewhere where they know no one else.
A lot of people. I mean, that's a very, very, very known fact. A lot
like those Africans who make money.
What I'm saying is, I deal with the real estate industry, and I deal with all types of people, and a lot of them. We have a lot of Arab investors, from Dubai and places like that.
It's like me here in Germany. I make money here in Germany. I not make money
in the real estate industry in the United States, but they do not actually live here. But they do invest in a lot of properties.
Yeah, but you must understand the mentality. They are not here to live there or to build a future or legacy. Just here to have.
No, I'm not even talking about that.
They're just here to make money and then No, hold on. But I'm talking about it. And that is what I said with the African mindset. That's why Kaiser's better. They make money so they can take the money out of the state when they needed it to embellish their lifestyle in Africa, or like the Arabs in the Arabian countries. Like
what I'm saying is we're arguing on the same points, bro. What I'm saying, that's what a lot of people do. The United States is the dollar standards of the world, and a lot of people have a tendency of investing here and taking their money elsewhere as well too. That's just a fact.
Yeah, but but once again, those people are not the same like the average American. Naturally, as someone who only deals with the money, it makes no difference. That's why I say. Yeah. That's why I say American topics excellent, but once I added African bullshit behind it, it's a blank. That's why I say Kaiser's.
I mean, they do on that channel. They do have some African investors who are on that channel, and they do try.
That doesn't mean much. That doesn't mean much.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Brian, you're in real estate, so you know what HELOC is, right?
Say what?
You're in real estate, so you probably know what HELOC is, right?
Enoch, you talking about HELOC, or you said Enoch?
HELOC, like HELOC.
Right. Yeah. What about it?
Home equity line of credit.
Line of credit, correct. Right. HELOC loans. Right.
That's why they do it.
Yeah, but let me ask you guys a question. Like, Brian, right? There are some low. Why do you niggas? Okay, not you, but I'm just projecting here, right? Why do niggas not like taking the low hanging fruit? I remember, right? I was talking to Ike about investing in the UK, in Wales, right? One of the places I went to uni. There's a city there. Literally, you can buy a house for £100,000, right? Now, all you need, obviously, as an investor to rent it is 20%. Nigga could have bought that house with that 20%. Put some dusty students in there because it's right next to student areas. The house would have paid for itself, 80% of it. Then also doubled in price in the next 10 years. This is guaranteed.
Right, I appreciate.
Are you talking about local English Africans, or talking about Africa straight from the continent? Because Africans,
people don't like to invest in the simple low-hanging fruit stuff.
I mean, a lot of people are ignorant about a lot of different things. I even had some friends who used to tell me back in the day, like, oh, a house is nothing but having, it's just rent, not knowing that, your house actually, appreciate, and if you sell it, you keep.
Yeah, but Brian, I keep seeing the stupid billionaires keep saying some stupid shit like, oh, don't buy a house, it's just liabilities. Yet they own so much real estate. What they do, they start rephrasing what a house means. Oh,
a house in real estate
or something. It's like, no, a house is just it's a building.
That is a very American thing. No one listens. No one in Nigeria listens to the millionaires when they talk about the last. Literally, no one listens.
And the best type of real estate is not actually a house. It's more like a apartment block.
Yeah.
Like if you could if you could buy 100 apartment blocks, that would be like the best type of real estate. There's like that. There's like that sweet spot between how many apartments you can get and how many apartments it should be for you to maximize your income. Because all you have to do, you buy them. Let's say right now they are low-income apartment buildings, right? You can buy it, renovate it, and then it becomes middle-class apartment buildings. Yep. And then you can rent it for like double the price.
I mean, you start off for something low. Let's say you start off, buying, like multiplexes and stuff like that. I mean, we have something, even though, I couldn't stand the Biden administration trying to do this. They were trying to get rid of the 1031 exchange program, where you have to be an apple for an apple, like as far as real estate versus real estate, whatever, where you could pretty much defer paying your taxes. And the Biden administration, for some weird reason, they were trying to get rid of that, but thank God other congressmen seen the light of day and said, oh, hell fucking no. That's how people really generate wealth. Where let's say what Abby was talking about as far as the apartment blocks, and then you 1031 exchange it, you get a higher, let's say if apartment block, let's say I sold my house for like over here, let's say the business, $800,000. And then I wanted to get something from, for $2.3 million. I would pay that 31 exchange it, and later defer my taxes, and then keep on buying until I get to $100 million. And then later on, when I do my taxes, I will pretty much depreciate everything, and then I'll come out with zero taxes. It's actually
that makes sense.
Tax code here. That's how people become wealthy here.
The way to it is not that easy. Once again, now I'm talking to the German perspective. It's not that easy. It's not so easy in Germany because most of the families here actually are rich, not that new time rich who has some toilet paper money. So actually rich. So all are old nobility or as a straight up they're part of the Nazi party.
That's why they moved.
Kizo, you know how, Brian, let me ask you this. I know I'm changing the topic, but you know how crazy the HELOC line of the stuff is? Like, you can never go broke spending using HELOC. And for everyone that doesn't know, it just means home equity line of credit. So, Kizo, let's just say you have a bunch of real estate that gets an appraisal of, let's say, 100 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on your credit card, you have a line of credit of 100 million. Think about that. So you can go and spend 100 million. You can buy anything worth 100 million with that line of credit. And I think your charge is only 1%. But let's just say you go and buy but this is how crazy it is. You go and buy a yacht.
You make more money from it. Yeah,
you go and buy a yacht that's 20 million using that 100 million line of credit, right? So you get charged around, let's say, what's 1% of 20 million? That's 200K, right? So obviously they would deduct the 20 million, so you're on 80 million now, and then the extra 200K. But now they will add the value of that yacht onto your equity, but half of it. So you get an extra 100 million into your credit, bro. So now you're on 90 million.
Yeah,
90 million less than 200. So technically, you only spent 110 million on it.
Can I ask a question, Nylot? Can you use that technique in Africa?
Yeah, you can, just when you're rich.
Yeah, that's why people don't invest in Africa, bro. No bank in Africa is going to give you that type of stuff.
Because when I hear credit and value, I know that shit doesn't work in Africa because Africans want tangible things like your
house. Banks in Africa will give you that stuff. No, certain banks in Africa will give you that stuff, but that means you have to register all of your property and everything under those banks.
And in Africa,
your equity and your houses become collateral. So let's say let's say you have houses in Nigeria that are worth. No, let me just say you have houses in Nigeria that are worth 100 million. Let's just put that. You would then have to go and invest. No, you would have to go and credit all of your property under Standard Bank. It wouldn't have to be under any bank. It would have to be under the bank that is giving you the line of equity. The line of credit.
Yeah.
Kaiser, you know there are a lot of countries who buy agricultural land that is like, mostly when it comes to buying land, they buy agriculture. Like Saudi Arabia, they don't